We were Jesters of Love was the name of our group, and it was maybe 10 of us, maybe 10, 15 of us.
I've never heard of that.
That did clown. It was clown ministry, is what we called it. Yeah, that was something I said quite a bit when people, where are you going next was a pretty common question over the last 4 to 6 months, and I'd say, my future's uncertain, but I'm not afraid. That it's at the end of the day, it's that relationship with Jesus that we need to have. And we need to live that and share that with our kids. When God calls us to do something, he also says, I'm going to give you everything you need to fulfill my will at that place. Started with, God, I'm just so sad. And that's all I had to say. And then the tears just came. And what a blessing that was. And it took that, that emotion that was sitting right below the surface, just took it down a few notches and made it more manageable. Fine. So God took me out of Pius for some reason and took us out of Lincoln for some reason and is moving us to Manitowoc, Wisconsin for some reason. And I'm going to be curious to see, I know it's for good reasons. I would be curious to see how that plays out. The kids at Pius, they were special, and they took good care of each other, and they did some knuckleheaded things for sure. There were some not always great times, but boy, there's a lot of hope for the future of the church because of what we get to see day in, day out of Pius. But it'll be hard to leave behind 31 years of people here.
It's a lifetime
in Lincoln. I've lived in Lincoln longer than anywhere else. And so, it's a little weird for me and how quickly this has all happened.
Or the strangest thing that's ever happened to you. That you can say on public forum.
Beyond this podcast?
Yeah,
this is among the strangest things.
Yeah, exactly. Strangest.
I just pulled an egg out of a basket with a number on the bottom.
Thank you guys for joining us. We're going to watch Tom Korta's interview now, and boy, he was just an amazing interview. He has got just such a good heart. He's got this way of just mission work that he wants to do, and funny guy. He was a clown at one point. He'd been here for 31 years with Pius the 10th High School, and now he's going to head up to Wisconsin. So we're excited to share his story with you.
Yeah. In the meantime, he's going to take another trip, I think his third trip to Rwanda, and he talks about that in the interview, which is just an amazing story. So I think you guys are going to love it. So without further ado, here we go.
I'll lose it, I'm sure I will find.
Welcome to the Born Again Podcast. My name is Jonathan.
And I'm Mike.
And today we have an amazing guest whose name is Tom. That's about as ordinary as you can get. And we're here to share the extraordinary stories of ordinary people. So thanks for tuning in. Mike?
Yeah, excellent. So this is Tom Korta. I've known Tom here since, I think, probably before 2017. I started working at Pius in 2017 and got to know him really well. Amazing person. Just has a heart of gold, a heart for mission. Anytime that I was around him at Pius, he was the principal at first and then became the CAO, and just did an amazing job at Pius. My kids were going through there, and he always had this heart for how to help kids. And you started out as a teacher. You had a beautiful family. We were just so blessed to be able to catch you. You just came into town today from Wisconsin, right? You were coming back for Minnesota. I'm sorry, Minnesota, and then you're heading out of town tomorrow. You just told us. So we're so blessed to have you here today. We'll kind of go into your story a little bit more, but I kind of wanted to get into, first of all, how did you get here? Because you grew up in Wisconsin, correct?
Right.
Yeah. Can you tell us a little bit about that, or?
Sure. So. Yeah, going back to the very beginning, I was so blessed to be born into the Korta family. So my mom and dad are just, they both passed, but they were just two fantastic people, committed Catholics, very active in our church in Milwaukee, St. Gregory the Great Parish, and grew up with 5 brothers and sisters. So we had a nice, good-sized family and kind of your traditional Catholic family, right? And Really, when I was in high school, the parish was more my peer group, social outlet than the high school was. I was involved in clown ministry, which is no surprise, right?
That's right.
Was just a great opportunity for me. I juggled, I did magic. It had me interacting with people in a way that I wouldn't ordinarily have the opportunity to do so. As a high school kid, I'm not going to go, generally speaking, to a nursing home and sit with an elderly person. But when I've got clown makeup on, I can go sit with them, blow up a little balloon animal, and just sit and talk with them and get around kids. There was a camp just north of Milwaukee that was for students with special needs. And it just was a blessing to go there. We would go have a separate, maybe like a week long. So it seems like every week we would go and do a show for them. And at the end of the show, we'd go out and make balloon animals and talk to these kids. And, when you're in makeup, completely covered, like no one knows who you are. So you're not that awkward teenager. I was Bonzo the Clown.
I'm still I assumed it was like an acronym, like Christ loves some,
No, this was
clown ministry.
Yeah, we were Gestures of Love was the name of our
that's awesome.
of our group, and it was maybe 10 of us, maybe 10, 15 of us.
I've never heard of
that did clown. It was clown ministry, is what we called it. It was really cool, and it taught me a lot in terms of kind of like I said that persona I could put on. But it gave me an opportunity to be on the stage. I was generally the MC of the show. I was the bungling clown, as you can imagine. Yeah. And so, like, I would try to do magic tricks, and magic tricks would always backfire on me. I was that kind of magician, that everything
really funny
fell apart for me. Right? Yeah, exactly. Yeah. And then there was the straight man who was, of course, he was the white face. I was a goose. But anyway, that was a lot of my high school social time, going to CYO. If you guys are familiar with CYO, we had that. And so I just really, I was around the church a lot. And it wasn't explicitly talking about our faith, but it was just always present there, that it was what united us. It was our common faith. And kind of like Mike and I were in a book club, and we would meet Wednesday after school, and for a number of years.
Yeah.
And boy, sometimes we would just chew the fat and not talk about anything in particular that was spiritual, but there was a bond there that's different when you come together as a group of Catholic men.
You kind of go below the surface. Like we talk about, we have this coffee group that we mention a lot, and it's very much the same idea of, you're not just talking about the latest Husker game score. Right. It's you go into some vulnerability. Sometimes somebody gets a little emotional, and that really forms a bond.
So. Absolutely. Vulnerability leads to intimacy, right? And so it's just being able to go there and be comfortable. And men, I think, tend to have a harder time getting to that spot with other men, and so it's a gift when we have those opportunities.
So this is when you were in high school. You started.
This is when I was in high school.
So were there other high school students involved with this? Are you kind of the younger guy?
Or? All high school kids.
Oh, it was all high school.
It was all high school kids.
Oh, that's really neat. Okay.
It was really neat. Yeah. And I had I had a sister, and two of my brothers were involved at some point, but never all four of us together. But four of us were involved in clown ministry. It was really great. So anyway, after high school, went to the University of Minnesota, and after graduating, I went to be a math teacher. I knew I was going to be a math teacher since 5th grade. Shout out to Pam Hart. Any chance Pam Hart's watching this? Probably.
Pam's watching.
Oh, yeah, hi, Pam. Thank you.
Our supporters.
Good old Pam in, I think, Oak Creek, Wisconsin, I think is where she's living now. I called her maybe a couple of years ago and just thanked her for her influence on me.
Wow.
And so, anyway, she's what inspired me to be a math teacher. And so since 5th grade, I really have not wavered from being in education. And graduated from the University of Minnesota. I wanted to live in Colorado. And so I moved. Back in those days, remember when you had to go to a library and look at an atlas to find out what Colorado looked like.
Yeah.
I chose Fort Collins based on the size of the dot. You know, you had to kind of look in the corner and see what the population was for that particular dot. I don't want too big, don't want too small, so it was the right size dot. Yeah. And I could have sworn there was shading to indicate mountains on both sides of the dot. Turns out I was wrong. If you've been to Fort Collins,
I haven't.
Fort Collins is on the foothills, so it's flat. Fort Collins is flat, but the mountains are just right on the west of Fort Collins.
Okay.
And the first night, I literally had never been to Fort Collins until I drove in with my car full of all my stuff.
Oh, man.
I stayed in a hotel that first night. It was actually on my
And
birthday.
just probably bawled your eyes out.
I'll tell you what, I came in on the north side of Fort Collins, and it was this industrial section of town. And I'm not, the brightest guy, but I could tell I wasn't driving in mountains, right? And I was like, oh my gosh, what did I do? That was really a depressing evening for me.
Oh, I bet.
I went and got dinner at this place, and it's on the north side, and it's just kind of this kind of cowboy bar restaurant type thing, kind of a dive. And I was like, oh my gosh, what did I do? All my stuff's in the car. I'm not going to drive home. It was a good 14-hour drive out there. So anyway, woke up the next morning. The sky was just that beautiful Colorado blue, and you look to the west, and there's the foothills, and it's like, oh yeah. Okay. And then I went a little further into Fort Collins, and oh my gosh, it's beautiful. Oh, okay. Beautiful town. So anyway, that's where I landed. Jill, my wife, had taken kind of a similar path just a year earlier. She knew one person when she moved out there, and he had promised her a job out there, and they were doing some motivational seminars, that sort of thing, but he didn't have very much work for her. It was whatever he could get scheduled, and he wasn't able to get much scheduled. So she got a job at the Egg and I in Fort Collins, the original one.
I didn't even realize it was that old.
Oh yeah.
You just didn't call his wife old.
I was just going to say, when you say you didn't realize it was that old,
we're going to
I didn't know they had eggs back then. Yeah, they did. Yeah.
Your wife is a sweetheart.
Yeah, well,
I would never, ever say that.
She just turned 60, beautiful. So exactly.
She's beautiful. Okay, well, we will edit that right
out.
Cut that
right out, yeah. Yes. That's on the editing floor already. And so then she was at a soup supper at this parish church, and the priest there asked if she wanted a job as a youth minister, and she's like, sure. What does a youth minister do? And so he explained to her what they were after, and so that was before I came out. When I moved out, she was already established as a youth minister. And I went to this church and saw in the bulletin they were looking for volunteers, and I thought, I'll get involved, youth ministry. And so Jill and I, from the jump, we co-taught a sophomore morality class, CCD. And it was just, what a great opportunity to get all those big questions out of the way just right away. We were on the same page. Both our fathers were electrical engineers. She had 4 boys and 2 girls in her family. I had 4 boys and 2 girls in my family. I mean, just all these kind of uncanny things,
Plus, you're both from Lincoln. Or no, she was.
No,
I'm sorry.
I'm from Milwaukee. Please don't say that again. Yes.
Well, I was. As you're telling this story, I'm like, wow, this is amazing. You're both from Lincoln.
Exactly.
Never mind. You came from Milwaukee.
Do you have the same parents?
Yeah. It got a little weird, but that's all right. Yeah, we're gonna cut that one too.
Like what?
Yeah. Make sure we mark the point.
Let's start over. My name's Jonathan.
So anyway, as God would have it, we slowly over time started to become interested in each other. I like to say I went there to get involved with youth ministry, and I got involved with youth minister. And we married 2 years later, actually at Cathedral here in Lincoln. Oh, wow. And then she was accepted to physical therapy school in Omaha at the Med Center. And I didn't want to go to Lincoln. I wanted to live in Colorado. I mean, I sacrificed a fair amount to live in Colorado, and at that time I had a teaching job. And
Lincoln's dot is much smaller.
It's a smaller dot, and there's no shading of any sort anywhere near the dot. Exactly. Yeah,
there's some corn shading.
Yeah, it's closer to blue than brown. And so we lived apart for a year, and the idea was that I was going to get tenure in Fort Collins. You had to teach there. Little thing I didn't know is in your fourth year you can qualify for I said tenure for sabbatical. You can take a sabbatical. And so Jill's was a 3-year program, and she told me at the end of 2 years, the third year is pretty much doing these rotations, so you can do them kind of wherever you want. So it was a perfect plan. She'd go there for a year. I would take a sabbatical, go live in Lincoln for 1 year, and then her third year of school, we'd move back to Fort Collins. What I didn't know is you have to work the first day of the fourth year to qualify for a sabbatical.
Oh, no.
So when at the end of my third year, I started asking about that, they said, well, no, you can't do that unless you sign a contract for the fourth year, which I, at that point, couldn't do, was clearly moving to Lincoln.
Okay.
So I moved to Lincoln and interviewed at Pius, and honestly, when I came to Pius, I was Catholic, but I was a public school grad myself, and I took the job at Pius as much just for a teaching job. It wasn't like Catholic school was my mission or my heart. It just was a teaching position, math teaching position. And so that was 31 years ago. So you know, we never moved to Fort Collins again.
Wow.
And actually, if I go out to Fort Collins, it's not our home anymore. You know, what I mean, it just has grown so much and looks so different, and it just doesn't feel like the place we were in.
Do you still stop in at the dive bar? Do you just
haven't visited that
times?
dive bar again, no. And frankly, I've only visited Fort Collins maybe 2 or 3 times in 31 years. I mean, it just hasn't been a huge draw to go back there.
Yeah.
So anyway, that's what got me to Pius, and it's been a blessing for me to be part of the Pius family for 31 years.
Yeah, it's crazy to think like that was just a God thing. Like, had you taken a position at a public school, would you be where you are today?
Yeah, I would say not, for sure. You know, and I was thinking about that, you know, as you were saying, you know, reflect on my kind of my faith path. You know, Pius has formed me in so many ways, and not just the explicit, tangible things that you would think about that a school would influence someone, but it's the conversations, it's the relationships. It's like I talked about at that youth ministry in high school for me. It was just that God was at the very center of everything we did. And I've been spoiled for 31 years to work in a place where there's no question. I go to work every day as a Catholic, and I have an opportunity to go to Mass in the morning just down the hall from where my office is, and talk with people, and you know, knowing that they're not all of them are Catholic, not all of the faculty at Pius are Catholic, but most of them are, and they're all Christians.
Yeah, you could pray with anybody in the middle of the day, and it's not a weird thing.
Yeah.
Right, and I like to say, you know, of those that are not Catholic, I don't know what the percentage, I don't know what a reasonable percentage is, but over 90% seems we have in common. You know, that it's, at the end of the day, it's that relationship with Jesus that we need to have, and we need to live that and share that with our kids. And if we're doing that, they'll have their theology class. They'll get you know, the finer details that are important in our faith. Don't get me wrong, but it's the lived faith. I don't know how often you and I have talked about the infallibility of the Pope. It just doesn't come up that often. But we'll talk about our relationship with Christ, and we'll talk about our devotion to Mary, and you know, things like that just come up. The call to poverty and humility and those sorts of things.
Yeah.
Those are universal.
Yeah.
You know, those aren't Catholic things. Those are Christian things. Christ called all of us to be followers of His like that. And so to be able to work in an environment where that's just the norm and the expectation and the foundation of what we're doing, it's been terrific.
Did you say your dad was an electrical engineer?
Yeah.
You and Jill's dads.
Right.
So was your mom a teacher by chance? Or what made you, like, was there a desire? I know you had mentioned your teacher earlier on, but...
Yeah, that's a good question. So actually my mom was a teacher,
Okay.
although she stayed home with us.
Okay.
And so she never taught after my oldest sister was born.
Okay.
She went back into school as a study hall monitor and ended up being a front office, administrative assistant. I would say like the office manager at an elementary school in our suburb where we grew up, but never went back into the classroom as such. I would say, well, my dad, after 25 years in the industry, went and became a professor at Milwaukee School of Engineering. So I guess I would say there was an air of teaching in our house. I would say my dad was a very good teacher. When he was working as an electrical engineer, he was a good teacher. He taught his kids. He taught us very well. And my mom, I would say, was a better teacher by example. She just was this, I think, saintly woman, loving, never, I shouldn't say never a bad word about, but rarely a bad word about others. You know, she's just very charitable, willing to see the better side of people, and encouraged us to do the same. And so I think really it was that Pam Hart, that 5th grade teacher who was so good to me. She made math interesting and fun for me. And I was a fairly smart kid in grade school, and I've lost it all since. But in grade school, I was okay. I could hang, and she kind of sparked that in me and drew that out of me and encouraged me to really pursue that. And so, yeah, it was that combination of loving math, which she inspired in me, and then thinking, well, I could teach other people how to do this. And I would find that, kids would ask me for help on things, and I would be able to explain to them. And, you'd get feedback like, oh, hey, you explained it pretty well. Pretty soon when I was in high school, I was tutoring. I volunteered at our district summer school every summer from 6th grade till I graduated from high school. I went and was a teacher's aide at the summer school, and I just loved it. Yeah.
That's awesome.
So you and I, we did a class together with our wives 22 years ago, whatever it was.
Something like that.
They were
yeah.
wee little bobbies. And I mean, you and I pass each other occasionally, but so maybe catch me up on how growing kids God's way has gone for you. How many kids do you have? I hear grandkids are in the picture now. What's that story?
Yeah, right. So, yeah, just to kind of wrap a bow around that, it was Growing Kids God's Way. It was a series of videos that we would watch. I think we met maybe weekly or
VHS. Are we talking VHS?
Probably, probably VHS back then. Maybe reel to reel, but I think VHS by that point.
A lot of tracking, like just the tracking.
There was no DVD.
The roll in.
Exactly. Tape would pop back out, push it back in again, kind of hold it in there. Then it wouldn't pop out. Use a paper clip. Yeah, all those good things. Yeah, exactly. So we have Jill and I have 4 kids. Our oldest is 27, Nick, and he is a assistant basketball coach at VMI for the men's program, Virginia Military Institute. Noelle is just turned 25, and she is a stay-at-home mom with our brand new 3-month-old-ish grandson. And they've been married about a year and a half, December of 24, I think. No, 23.
There you go.
Must have been 23. Yeah. Yes, everything was on the.
So
on
you're
the
a
up
math
and up.
teacher, you said.
Yeah, well, I had to get out of it. They took me out of the classroom. What else can we have him do? Well, not a very good teacher. We'll make him an administrator, I guess. And then we have Andrew, just graduated from KU, and he was the head student manager for the last 2 years with their men's basketball program. If you're
got to travel with them,
there,
right?
got to travel.
Yeah, cool.
He was behind their bench when they won the national championship in his freshman year. He didn't know how good he had it back then. He was like, "Yeah, we'll do this every year, right?" Yeah. No, Andrew, this is rare. And he's going to be a grad assistant down at KU for 1 more year. He'll be with them. And then Bree is going to be a junior, and she just last week turned 20. And in terms of, very seriously, how did Growing Kids God's Way work for us? Really, it was a great guide for us. It's a lot of Boys Town, a lot of similarities of Boys Town. You teach kids what you want them to do in particular situations. So we're going into a house, and we would say, okay, you're going to extend your hand, you're going to look them in the eye, and you're going to tell them your name. Those sorts of things. And so, the kids would go in and they would do that. Of course, the whole timeout, my kids love to tell stories about our timeout spot was on the stairs, and I wouldn't go talk to them until they told me they were ready. And ready meant that they were no longer crying, that they could talk to me in a calm voice. And so, they would tell stories about kind of wiping their eyes. I'm ready, Dada. Trying to kind of hold that lip and like, oh, are you sure? Yes. Sometimes they wouldn't be ready. I say, I don't think I'm ready. Yelling at me, like, I'm ready. Anyway, so I would say of our kids, not any one of them would be necessarily the greatest standout at any one thing. Bree was a successful soccer player. She played for a year down at North Texas on scholarship. So, I mean, she's a D1 athlete and stayed down there for a year. And she was kind of like, I've kind of accomplished all the goals that I want to in soccer, and I'm putting a lot of time into this. And frankly, the Newman Center at UNL was as much a drawback for her that she just... the community that they have there, that she wasn't feeling down in North Texas. And I think she was one of 2 Catholics on the team and didn't really jive with the Newman Center down there. And so she was going to a parish off campus. And so there wasn't that college community there for her centered around the faith. And she moved back here then for her sophomore year. And first of all, she's smart. She's living with her parents. She's paying in-state tuition, all sorts of great things. Yeah. She actually went to Southeast Community College for a year to do the academic transfer, so she saved money there as well. And yet she was still down at the Newman Center all the time. And she has a pretty serious boyfriend who's, the 2 of them are down there quite a bit and involved. She went on a mission trip to Our Lady of Guadalupe down in Mexico City this past spring. And all 4 of my kids, they are still active. They have a relationship with the Lord. They, when I say active, active in their faith, it's, they lead prayerful lives. And frankly, I would say they kind of challenge me sometimes. They challenge and inspire me, or will share something that they've read or whatever. They even ask questions. I mean, there's a lot of good conversation around the faith in our family. So, it's been good.
You want to talk a little bit about Jill, because my wife is a big runner, and Jill was an amazing runner. So I don't know if you want to talk about her at all, but amazing, amazing story, right?
Yeah, Jill's the superstar in the family. So any athleticism in our family comes from Jill. She, from my understanding, cross country was not a NSAA sanctioned sport for girls her freshman year. And so she would run with the boys. Like, girls would run with the JV. They couldn't run varsity, I'm pretty sure, but she would run with the JV team. And she was this little, she'd say she was 4'10" and just the skinny little thing. And after one race, some kid said, "Man, did you see that one guy from Pius go by me?" And the other guy goes, "You idiot, that was a girl." That was Jill. And when it became a sanctioned sport her sophomore year, she won state all 3 years of cross country. And I don't think she ever, she won state in, I think, the half mile, mile, and 2 mile all 3 years.
Wow.
In track.
She holds records still, doesn't
she? She still has the 2 mile record at Pius.
Okay. So
Elizabeth Lang, E. Lang, we called it, or E. Liz, she graduated, I think, 2003 or 2004, somewhere in that ballpark. She beat Jill's half mile and mile time.
Oh, wow.
Which actually Jill was pretty excited about that. But Elizabeth would have attended more. like the mile would have been long for her. She was great in a quarter, half mile, but the 2 mile record, Georgia Boyle thinks that record's going to stand for a real long time.
So what was the record? Do you have any idea how fast she ran that?
10:42.
2 miles.
2 mile. Yeah.
Wow.
She averaged 5:21s. If it's not 10:42, it's 10:52. A good husband would know this to the 10th of a second.
You should say so.
I'm a mediocre husband, so I just know that she has the record and feel pretty good about that.
You know what? I can dub it in. I'll
Yeah.
dub.
Oh, there you go.
You want to move your mouth a little bit?
There you go.
I'll just-
doing it in a
I'll
Spanish
show it at the
accent.
bottom.
Yeah, that's right.
10:52.
Yeah, exactly.
Oh man.
And so then she ran for the University of Nebraska and she's an All-American in the 4x8
Wow.
and was part of at least several national championship teams for track.
It's incredible to me because I know Jill too, and like you two are just the bubbliest ray of sunshine, like a bolt of sunshine as a couple. It's pretty amazing.
Well, thank you.
Good example.
That's actually Jill. So
Oh, she's just rubbing off on
Jill,
you.
I
You're in her
mean, no
wake.
kidding.
You're a clown, though. I mean, that's something you would.
Well, yeah. Yes. Okay, there's that. But that's when I'm in makeup, then I'm really friendly. Out of makeup, I just do not talk to people anymore. No, Jill's a great, those who are listening who know her will just be nodding along with. She's just a terrific people person. She's never met a friend, or someone who's not a friend, or what's that saying? Anyhow.
Yeah, that.
Yeah, she's that kind of person, that give her a few seconds. She's going to find some common connection that you have, someone that you know in common. And I'll tell you, she's willing to ask questions of people that I would not feel comfortable asking. She'll dig. And people respond to that.
She sees
it's
like a good
crazy.
opening, maybe, and
Yeah.
she reads the whole.
She
situation.
reads the whole situation,
Yeah, that's
and
great.
she's got the courage to ask. And
Yeah.
I'll tell you what, she's brought people into the faith because she's willing. Well, have you considered the Catholic faith? And she's terrific.
good for her.
Yeah, I married up for sure.
Well, clearly.
Everybody who knows us are nodding along again. Yeah, that's for sure.
Yeah. And she's a Noel, great family, the Noels
Yep.
in Lincoln, and very
Yep.
Catholic, and
Absolutely.
yeah.
Yeah.
That kind of, when you were talking about them being bubbly, well, the first time that Tom ever came over here to our house, I don't know if the barn was here. It was here, I think.
I think so.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So Tom came over, and we were having our book club was meeting over here in the evening for just drinks and chips or something, and it was so amazing. You were principal at the time, I believe,
Yep.
and within a few minutes, you had befriended all of my kids, and you're in our trampoline with all of them jumping around. Do you remember that?
Yeah.
It was the coolest thing to see because it was like, that's really who he is. Like, this is the
Yeah.
principal that's leading the school, but he is like, came down to my kids' level, who they weren't even at Pius at the time. And you're in the trampoline jumping with my kids, and I'm like, that's the principal of Pius over there, And you weren't just like, you were jumping in there. You were really loved it. So it was really cool to see that. And that just spoke to me about who you really were. Like, your heart is just meant for helping people and mission. And I don't know if you want to get into Rwanda yet, but I really appreciate it about you. And anyway, yeah, I just wanted to say that. So,
Thank you.
Yeah.
Appreciate that.
Yeah, it's nice because I've met people where they kind of put on that facade of joyful or fun or whatever, but you see them privately and you're like, oh, they kind of look sad or whatever. Like,
Yeah.
I know, everybody has struggles, but like, I've just never seen you in that place of, I can't get out of this mentally or emotionally. Like, you're joyful on and off camera, in the public eye and out of the public eye. And I appreciate that about you. You're consistent. I love that.
Yeah, thanks.
Yeah.
I'll tell you what, one thing I'll say to Jill is I'm so blessed it's unfair to the others. Like, I just feel like God's heaped all of his blessings on me, and I'm thinking he must not have left anything for the other people. It's just I have had a great life and continue to have a great life, and God continues to just guide me and point me in new directions. As you know, I'm heading into a new phase of my life right now, but it's been just unbelievable how present and gentle and generous God has been, even in what's been kind of a tough few months, leaving Pius and changing direction, but my goodness, all along the way, he just kept in prayer, reassuring me, trust in me, surrender, I got you, and yeah, he's not failed me ever.
What was that? What was that discernment process like for you? Like, because it's a huge life change to change states and positions and all that. Like, when you go into your personal prayer and that discernment, and you're just talking with Jesus or the Father or the Spirit, like, what was that like for you? How do you hear Him? Those kind of things. Like, how did you know this is forming in the right direction?
Yeah, it's a good question. I wish I could give a very concise answer, but I will say that God, throughout my life, seems to have moved my heart and I'm going to say guided thoughts, but also has spoken through other people in other circumstances. And, I would say Jill started to get a little anxious, like, hey, you need to find a job. And I don't think I was being lazy. I would follow every lead that came along my way, but I felt that God was in particular saying, be patient, trust me. And so where do I hear that? One habit that I've gotten into, I think maybe the last probably 3 or 4 years, is pray the office, the divine office of the church. And I'm really good at getting off the office of readings and morning prayer in. I wish I could say I'm even 50-50 at evening prayer. Like, it just seems like all of a sudden it's bedtime and I'm like, well, dang it, I didn't do evening prayer again. Yeah, exactly. I'll try it tomorrow. But even I have an opportunity, I was able to go to Cloisters on the Platte just a couple weeks ago.
Oh, yeah. Was that your first time? Or?
It was my first time.
Okay.
And I was supposed to go last December, and it ended up being the Sunday of the retreat was the day that Missouri and Kansas basketball teams were playing each other. So my son at the time, Nick, was the assistant director of basketball operations at Missouri. Andrew was the head student manager at KU. Wow. And at the time, KU was ranked number 1. Mizzou may not have even been rated at the time. I don't know. Nick would hate me if I got that wrong. But anyhow, at Mizzou, and sure enough, Mizzou upsets the Jayhawks. Anyhow, I'm thinking, well, okay, I'll just go the first couple days of the retreat and just duck out early on Sunday. Well, you don't duck out early on the Cloisters. That's a no-no. Yeah. You don't want to get banished permanently from the Cloisters list. That's what you do, right? So I started looking then. This is back in November. I started looking for the next opportunity, and I had conflicts every weekend. And I was like, oh, this is so crazy. And so just 2 weeks ago, July 17th, 18th, was the first available weekend. And when I signed up for it, I was number 41, I think, on the waiting list. And I thought, oh, my gosh. And sure enough, just over time, I kept getting closer and closer. And, our God is a God of tomorrow. So back in November, who would know that I'm in the midst of this discernment period?
When this is when you need it.
Yeah, July 17th. And so what's crazy is that this job in Wisconsin first came to my attention just like within a week before that retreat. And I reached out to the school because I thought, well, it's mid-July. Surely the position's been filled by now. So I reached out to the diocesan superintendent, this delightful gal named Becky Walker, and we had a great, over-hour conversation and just kind of back and forth. And she's listening about me, and she said, well, I'll tell you what, normally there's a screening interview, but we're going to count this phone conversation as the first screening. I need you to answer these questions and get back to us because I'd like you next to do a phone interview with our search committee. Well, this is Wednesday. I'm going on retreat Thursday.
Oh, man.
and she sends them to me Wednesday night. You know, she's couldn't get to it right away, of course, and so she sends it to me Wednesday night, and so I've got less than 24 hours. I figure, you know, another thing that you don't want to be is late to the cloisters. They say, we shut the gate at 6 and we're not going to open it for you. That kind of message.
You can't walk up there.
And you can't walk down.
tried,
Well, you could, actually. I walked down on the way out.
You did?
I walked. Yeah, I did.
They
yeah.
wouldn't let me walk down.
Oh, is that right?
Yeah.
Yeah, well, I snuck off
They
in the
got
woods. They did. Not total integrity, but
Yeah.
just, you know, anyway.
Good way to start your retreat.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, that's right. So I'm like, all right, I got to leave my house at 5. I hit submit on those questions at probably 4:45. Ran upstairs, packed. You don't need much for a retreat. You know, it's a couple shirts and maybe a change of underwear, right? You know,
Maybe.
how much you're just praying, right? Exactly. It'd be good for the other guys to have to smell me a little bit. You know, be offered up,
penance.
a little suffering. Yeah, exactly. So I hit submit and got going and made it. In fact, I got the text as I was driving. It was 10 to 6. Are you still coming? And I couldn't respond because I'm driving. It's kind of silly to send a text.
They were asking if you were coming.
Yeah.
And you're like, it's not 6 o'clock yet.
Well, exactly.
What are you bothering me for?
So then the phone rings at 5 to 6 from the retreat house.
Oh, man.
And at that point, I was like, yes, I can see the gate. I'm just approaching now. And so I made it fine. And what a blessed weekend it was. And I brought to that weekend the question of, is this what you want me to do, God? So it's interesting. Sometimes in my life, like, God will make this happen, this happen, this happen, that anyone else looking from the outside would say, well, yeah, no duh, that's God working. And I do feel that, but I always worry about myself, that maybe I'm reading too much into it, or like I'm misreading the signs, and is this God opening this door for me, or am I being tempted to not trust and have patience like he told me to? And there was one particular talk on the weekend where the priest who was leading the retreat said, if the Pope were to call you and say, hey, there's a situation going on, we'll go with Rwanda. I need someone to go to Kibeho, and there's been some struggle among the people, and I need someone to go there and really mediate and help these people and help them get back on their feet. Like, my first response to the Pope would be, you got the wrong guy, man. I appreciate the call. Nice to hear from you. Go Sox. But, you know, it would be to deny that, no, I don't have what it takes. And this priest was saying, God's asking some of you, you know, he doesn't know what our stories are, but he says, God's calling you, and your first reaction might be, no, I don't have what it takes, or I'm the wrong guy, or this isn't my calling, or whatever. And he's saying, we shouldn't deny that. When God calls us to do something, he also says, I'm going to give you everything you need to fulfill my will at that place. And it's like,
Wow.
Okay, sounds like you're saying, yeah, I should go to Wisconsin. And I kept telling people, you know, I told my family right from the jump, when I saw the position, I said, I think this is where I'm going to be working.
You just felt it right away.
Yeah. Like, a bit presumptuous, Dad, because, I mean, there is an interview process, right? And,
that.
yeah, that silly detail, right?
I'll let them know they're hiring me when I get
exactly. And even it was kind of this dance, because the phone interview went really well, and I felt like I was able to answer their questions well, and they seemed, you can read a group when they feel like they're kind of following along with you. And they invited me then for a day-long in-person interview. This was a week ago today. That they invited me to come to Manitowoc, Wisconsin, and literally I was there with different interviewing groups from 7:30 in the morning till 6:30 at night. Wow. The last thing they did, I think this is so cool, but the last thing they did at 5:30, they invited anyone from the public who wanted to come in, and they asked questions. I had a microphone at the front of the room in the Performing Arts Center, and they asked questions of me, and so the public could hear how I would answer these questions.
Wow.
And the public were given the opportunity, community members were given an opportunity to submit questions.
Okay.
So, and of course, she kind of, the superintendent chose the questions out of the group, and there were little nuances that changed. So she would decide.
I would have thrown some zingers.
Yeah, well, exactly.
So what's this about being a clown?
Yeah, yeah, exactly. Bonzo, please. Bozo, come on.
He's totally different.
Yeah, that's right. He's so 1970s.
Do you have a picture? Do you have a picture we could?
I do. Yeah.
Okay.
I have a picture. I have a great
It's gonna
picture
be down below here. So.
Yeah, right. Yeah, exactly. We'll post it. Yeah, I got a picture
Okay,
I could
great.
share. Hopefully, it's not packed already. But anyway, so I went to the interview, and it seemed like they were interested in me, and I was interested in them. And I would have said by 11 o'clock, we probably could have stopped the whole charade and just said, "Hey, we know where this is going. Come on."
You know the deal.
Yeah,
Stop
I'll let
wasting
you know.
everybody's time,
Yeah,
right?
I'll tell you. I'm interested. I kind of feel
Yeah.
you're interested, But they had different groups. So they had high school teachers, and then they had a group of elementary and middle school teachers, and then they had what they called key stakeholders, and they had their board of trustees and the corporate board. And so there were different groups that I was in front of, and of course the principals and the director of advancement and the enrollment coordinator, and so all these folks, right, that I'm going to be working with, and to their credit, they were very thorough, and they had me visit with all these people. And after a while, they would say, "Do you have any questions?" And I was like, I'm going to have a whole lot of questions. At that point, I really felt like I was going to be the next president of Roncalli Catholic Schools. I had all kinds of questions, but none of them are really urgent today. Another thing that they found out is that I can be a little long-winded. So, this Dr. Walker, can you believe it? This Dr. Walker would say, "Hey, we got to be done, in 5 minutes, maybe just one more question, and then we'd be 5 minutes over." So, I learned to just stop asking questions because, like I said, I knew what I needed to know. This is it's a faith-filled community.
Yeah.
Two things that are unique about them. They just recently became a unified K-12 system. So they used to have the high school, and then they had the elementary schools merged and the middle schools merged, but it wasn't officially one system until 4 years ago.
Wow.
So one of the things I'm going to be doing there very much is going to be looking at just kind of helping them to get to that spot where they really feel like a K-12 system.
Yeah.
And some of that's curricular, some of that's just identity, some of that is just celebrating. Too often, working in a high school kids get all the print, they're what they accomplish, especially in activities. The extracurricular activities get all sorts of recognition, but if they get scholarships that, whatever it might be, those are the things that land in the paper. But those, we don't get there if we don't have a strong, here in Lincoln, we don't have a strong K-8 system and strong families building that foundation. In a certain sense, Pius High School is just kind of like, we were just the last 4 years of these, 14 to 18-year-olds.
Yeah.
And so it's not right for us to take all the credit at Pius, nor is it right in Roncalli Catholic Schools for the high school to get all the attention. So it's going to be important that we just really intentionally develop that sense of family among all the K-12 teachers and students and parents. So that'll be one thing. They have a system that I hear is not uncommon in other dioceses, but they have one parish, 3 sites. So they combined their parishes into one, St. Francis of Assisi. But there are 3 churches you can go to as part of the St. Francis of Assisi parish. So you think of the parish as a prayer community, and if you want to go to a 9 o'clock mass, you go to and this might be wrong for those of you listening from Manitowoc, but you might go to the Waldo site. So it's named Waldo site because that's for the street, not after the red and white character. It's the Waldo
Easy to
site.
find,
Yeah,
then.
but you can exactly. Where's Waldo's site?
Great.
Yeah, right.
Great one.
And then there's I think a Grand site and a Marshall site, so named after 3 different streets. But so there's a 9 o'clock at this site, a 10 o'clock at that site, and so you just kind of there's opportunities for mass on Sunday. You have a lot of options.
So were there 3 different churches at one time, and then they just took it
Correct.
under one
They
umbrella
changed the parish names.
Okay.
Yeah, and now it's one parish. If you go to their website, one parish, 3 sites.
Wow.
And so, again, I think, boy, there's some that's a relatively recent thing in Manitowoc, maybe a little bit older, probably 15 years, I think. I'll learn more about that history. But just that whole idea of bringing unity to the group, and I think that's a strength that I have, is kind of unifying people and rallying them around. And of course, again, founded in our faith, it's going to be a pretty easy sell. But it'll be curious for me. My prayer with God has been, what do they need from me? Why did you take me from Pius? And my wife, so now it's beyond just me from Pius, but us from Lincoln. What do you have in that? Knowing that it's good. He's taking very good care of Pius. He's given him a great, Jeremy Eckler's going to be a great CAO at Pius. Jen Tran's going to be a terrific principal. Like, Pius is
I heard there's a great art teacher coming.
And there's a
average
to above average art teacher. And so, God provided for the school without me. And boy, there's some good humility for me in that. And that'll be a fresh reminder that I'll be able to take to Wisconsin, that it's not about me. It was never about me. It's about what's going on in the classroom. If anything, it's the teachers are the ones. Teachers and the staff are doing the hard. They're doing the heavy lifting, right? The CAO just tries to kind of guide and create a good culture and that sort of thing. And of course, pay the bills and sign the contracts, those sorts of things. But Pius did not need me, right? They're doing just fine. So God took me out of Pius for some reason and took us out of Lincoln for some reason, and is moving us to Manitowoc, Wisconsin for some reason. And I'm going to be curious to see. I know it's for good reasons. I would be curious to see how that plays out.
So I get people that ask me about discernment, and so I hear in that, what I often tell people is follow the fruit, which is peace. So throughout your discernment process, you're following the peace that comes with the Spirit. And so you wouldn't know this, but my first time going to the cloisters was last December.
Be darned.
I wonder
if you had my spot.
I was thinking that. Well, you weren't going to show up on time anyway.
Fair enough.
But it's a great place to just. I love what they're doing there. It's a place to just rest with the Father, and it's in that, that's what I tell people, is it's usually in the silence. When you get comfortable enough with it, you can just hear those interior movements of.
Right.
But peace is always at the center. God's not going to call you somewhere and leave an anxiety about it.
Right.
There's just going to be peace. So what I hear in you sharing about going there is there's a peace in it, even though it's taking you from your home and your community and this place you've been for 30 years. There's no weight in that. There's anticipation. It's joyful.
Right. Yeah, that was something I said quite a bit when people, where are you going next was a pretty common question over the last, 4 to 6 months. And I'd say, my future's uncertain, but I'm not afraid. God always wins. And I just believe with my whole self that God desires good for each one of us. And if we let go and just place ourselves in his hands, he's going to take us to a place beyond what we even think. Well, for sure, far beyond what I deserve. I mean, there's no question about that. But even what I, in my puny little mind, would think would be the right outcome. How many times have I thought, oh, God, you must want this from me? And then when I don't get that, I think, well, geez, why didn't God give me that? Clearly, that's, come on, God. I mean, I've thought it through. That's what's best for me. Yeah. And I never would have thought that I was going to end up as president of a 3-school system, Manitowoc, Wisconsin. That never in my mind. And then I start to think, kind of check off some of the boxes in terms of being back home close to I've got a sister who still is in Milwaukee and another sister in western Wisconsin. And so to be close to them again is going to be a great blessing. If this same opportunity would have shown up in, let's just say, one state over in Michigan, in some small town in Michigan, Manitowoc's only 35,000 people, about the size of Kearney. So let's say you got that size dot in Michigan. I wouldn't have the same comfort and confidence that I do. I'm familiar with Manitowoc. It's not very far from Green Bay. It's very close to Our Lady of Champion, which is the only approved Marian apparition in the United States.
Yeah.
And so I just keep thinking, oh, that too. Oh, and that too. And it's like, okay, God, yeah, I can see what you're doing here. And it is better than what I thought I was going to be doing.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I was listening to, do you know Keith Nestor? Do you know who that is? He's a convert. He was a pastor before, but he was talking about how it took him a long time to convert to Catholicism because he just, there was just this unknown, right? Of what does this look like after I'm gonna have to lose my job and all this stuff.
Yeah.
And but he talked about dying to himself and just I'm just gonna go with it, and I'm going to quit my job tomorrow. He just did it, and it became one of the best blessings he ever had. So it's this whole thing of like I'm gonna die to myself, and I'm just gonna go with it, and just be there for an adventure.
Yeah, and it's a lot easier to see God's work in the rearview mirror, right, than out in front of you. And I can see how God was preparing me for this all the way back. I mean, November, December, there was kind of a change in my prayer life. Definitely, there was a change in the way I was praying the rosary at the prompting of Louis de Montfort. I could spend hours on him. Don't worry, I won't.
But you could. I've heard you long-winded.
Yeah,
so.
right. But I started to pray for humility and poverty, and especially when I would get to the third joyful mystery, the birth of Christ, and just the tremendous poverty. The not just the material poverty of being born in a manger, but here's God emptying himself, right? And becoming human and being just without, right? And that's the example that we have, and the humility that goes along with that. And so I've been praying for that, and I kind of thought God saw that more of a metaphor than literally. I want humility and poverty. But
Be careful what you pray
yeah,
for.
exactly.
Yeah.
But what a blessing it has been to have to pause and consider what's really important, in terms of lifestyle. And Jill and I have abundance like crazy, almost kind of embarrassing abundance, frankly. And what we need in this world is so far less than what we have. And it's good every so often to be caused with the uncertainty of my employment. And actually, I'm between, I got a 3-month no paycheck window here. But, it's like, what do we absolutely have to have? And you start looking around your house and you go, not even a tenth of what I have here. And this will kind of lead into Rwanda a little bit. But then also with the humility piece of just how great when we can just say it's totally dependent on God's grace in us. And I bring nothing to the table, I'm what I am because of God's grace and because of where he placed me in this family with my mom and dad, my brothers and sisters, and the blessing of being at Pius X. I had no desire to come be at Pius X. And all of a sudden, after 31 years, I'm like the chief spokesperson for Pius X High School and Catholic education, and a passionate advocate for Catholic education, taking that to Wisconsin. But there's nothing about me. That's where God has led me, and that's where I get to go.
Has faith always been, take this with good intention, has it always been easy for you? Because and if it's a gift and you've always had that, you just always had that gift of faith, that's great. Sometimes people go through struggle to get there, though, because I just hear such a peace and a joy in your faith life. Like you said, it maybe wasn't rooted or grounded early on, but there was a spark in there.
Was there somewhere that there was a tipping point, or just this nice progression throughout your life? What's given you such deep faith to just take these things in stride?
I guess I think probably more the latter, that it's been a progression, that it's been something that I would say, as a younger kid, I was drawn to liturgy, being born or being part of the church community, and going to church was, I'm not gonna say it was never a bummer for me or never a hardship or whatever. I mean, I liked going to church on Sunday. There were times I liked going to church on Sunday because of the people that I saw that we sat and visited with after church. Yeah. It wasn't always, it wasn't, oh my gosh, transubstantiation just happened on the altar. It was sure. Just think what's going on here. Yeah. It was nothing like that.
There's donuts after this.
Yeah, that's exactly right. Yeah. Donut Sunday? Yeah, I'm there. So I would say that overall, it's been easy for me to feel God's presence and to be drawn to that. I've had some unique graces. I was baptized on Mary's birthday, September 8th. I didn't know that until the first time I went to Rwanda, and I came back, and my mom and dad were getting ready to move out of the house. They'd been in for 40-some years, and so they were cleaning out stuff, and I flipped through, and I find my baptism certificate, and I'm like, holy smokes. And I was like, thank you, Mary. I mean, I always felt like Mary's definitely been a key figure in my faith life for a long time. And I think, well, that's a neat little connection she and I have. Yeah. A little grace, I think, that a special grace she gave me. But yeah, there have been dark moments of struggle, moments where I've wondered about God's presence or love for me, or especially in my sinfulness, my worthiness, the number of times I feel like, oh my gosh, God, you've got to be done with me. And no, he's like, come on, get up. I love you. Yeah, I don't love what you just did there or what you've been doing or whatever.
I only gave you 10 rules, Tom.
Yeah, exactly. I try to keep it simple. But overall, I think God's made it pretty easy for me.
You talk about Rwanda, and how many times have you been there?
2. Next week will be my 3rd time.
Okay, so you're going down there for a few weeks too, right?
6 weeks.
6 weeks.
Yes.
So I'm not privy to Rwanda and your experience there, so you'll have to catch me up to speed.
Okay.
Yeah. So can you kind of talk about your first time going down there and why you went and kind of the experiences you had?
Yeah. So again, God's grace, right? So Jane Keneally and Julie Schoenweiss, 2 English teachers at Pius, used to do a genocide unit with social lit class. And kind of the end of the unit, they would show Hotel Rwanda, which is a story about...
It's a hard movie to watch.
It's a hard movie to watch. So it's this hotel manager who is able to save, I don't know what number of Tutsis, but able to save a number of them by smuggling them in and protecting them in Hotel Rwanda. And actually, I've been to that hotel a couple of times. Wow. Never stayed, but it's a really nice hotel. So it's still in the capital. Yeah, yep, Kigali, okay. Yeah. Wow. And so Julie and Jane wanted to do some unit on the genocide, but also wanted to look at that point of forgiveness. And they stumbled across this opportunity to go on this pilgrimage to Kibeho, which is a super small village in Rwanda, super insignificant, that Mary appeared to 3 school children, high school girls, in early 1980s.
Approved apparition and everything by the
Approved
church,
apparition by the Vatican, yes. And so Mary, so like she appears to unimportant people generally in poor, very poor, financially poor circumstances or parts of the world. And so Mary was appearing in the 1980s. the genocide that took the lives of anywhere from 750,000 to 1 million people in 91 days. That genocide happened in April of 1994. And so Mary was calling them to conversion, and actually some of the visionaries, she took them on these spiritual journeys, and she showed them rivers flowing with blood and bodies lining the sides of the roads in mounds, all which came true in 1994. But at the time, you can imagine being a visionary and seeing this, and one of the neat things about these apparitions is the technology was there. They were recording them. So a visionary would go into an ecstasy, so they would fall down on their knees and their eyes would be up, open to and their hands would be up like this, and they'd be looking up. And then Mary would give them messages, and they would share these messages, and people would come from all around and gather in this big open field by this high school, and they would record. So it'd be like listening on one side of a phone conversation. So the seer would say something like, "You want me to tell them," and then she would give the message. And there was this one day where a visionary or a couple of visionaries, I can't remember now the exact detail, but started screaming and crying, and "Why are you showing this? Why are you showing this?" And later shared it. That's what she saw, was this devastation that was going to happen in Rwanda in 1994.
Were they getting the message that unless they pray, or was it too late at that point?
That's a good question.
I've read the book.
It definitely was a
message.
It definitely was a message of conversion of heart, and very saddened by the divisions.
Yeah,
there were definitely divisions in the country between the two primary tribes, the Hutus and the Tutsis, and so. Yeah, she saw where that path was heading, and was saying you need to love, you need to forgive, you need to be united, and they obviously not the right people listened.
Yeah.
At any rate, and so then in 1994 there's this huge genocide that takes place, and in the aftermath of that you've got Tutsi women. So the Hutus were basically the perpetrators that were driving out the Tutsis, trying to eliminate the Tutsis. You got Tutsi women who lost their husbands and adult sons more than anything else. Might have been raped, intentionally trying to spread HIV or other diseases. And so you've got this group of women, and then you've got on the other side the Hutu women whose husbands were imprisoned or exiled from the country, and you had this kind of crazy disproportionate number of women in this country because men were either killed or driven out or incarcerated. And they started this project weaving these baskets together, and they brought women together intentionally, mixing tribes. And now officially in Rwanda there are no tribe divisions, like they've eradicated it. But they just found that just giving women this opportunity to sit side by side and work on a common task, and pretty soon conversations started and the healing started to happen. They couldn't try the justice system. No way they could handle all the Hutus who were incarcerated. So they set up these. I won't be able to come up with the Rwandan name, but they set up these kind of local communities, and basically they left it to the communities to decide how to respond. Justice, yeah.
Wow.
And just tremendous stories of forgiveness and how they recognize it does no one any good to put these men in the prison. There were some who were not contrite. They didn't regret what they had done, and they're probably safest that they stay in jail. But a number of them, they just they kind of got caught up. They got caught up. They were sold the lie, that these Tutsis were less. You know, they talked about them as cockroaches, and we got to eliminate these cockroaches. And you know, they blamed all the ills in the country on the Tutsi people, and people bought into it and thought, oh yeah, the Tutsis are the bad people. And so they basically on one day, kind of overnight, there was this call to arms, and they were killing people with machetes, and I mean, just was gruesome stuff.
Have you ever met Immaculate?
Yeah.
You did meet her?
Yeah. So
I mean, I just wonder if people don't even know the story. You know, this happened in '94, you said, and that was not that long ago for a genocide to have happened.
Yeah.
And and I read the book Left to Tell and with Immaculate, and just amazing, just actually unfathomable. So you actually had an opportunity to meet her. She was a Tutsi, is that right?
she was, yeah.
Yeah, okay.
And Immaculate, yeah, she hid in a bathroom with I think 7 other women or 8 of some, you know, crazy small bathroom that they couldn't all sit at the same time. They would take turns, and they were hiding in this pastor. It wasn't a Catholic pastor, but a pastor just down the hill from her home, and he hid them in their bathroom at really great risk to himself.
Oh, yeah.
And just some neat stories in there of kind of near misses where they went into his home and were looking all over. He had slid this big armoire in front of the door, and at one point he hadn't slid it, so there was a door there, and one guy literally had his hand on the handle, and Immaculate was on the other side praying her rosary over and over again, and all of a sudden he just said, we can trust you, you're a good man. Took his hand off the handle and walked away. Had he opened that door, I mean, it would have found them there, and surely would have killed all of them. But yeah, she survived.
How long were they in there? Do you remember?
I think it was 91 days.
It's incredible.
Yeah, it was a very, very long time.
And she came to Pius, right?
She
Didn't
came to Pius.
Speak at Pius?
So she was on that pilgrimage that I went
Okay.
in 2010.
Okay.
It was a group of maybe 20 of us, and you know, we would sit and have meals with her. I mean, she was very available, very much involved with us, and I would say really leading the pilgrimage.
Wow.
She had a sister-in-law who, on one of the days that we were there, one of the most powerful things, she shared her experience. Immaculate said she had never shared her experience of the genocide before, but she talked about they fired into the crowd apparently, and so they had rounded everybody up into a circle, and then they fired into the crowd, and everybody was laying on the ground then, and blood, and she laid there in blood. She was not shot, but she acted like she was dead until they finally went away. And she was worried they were hiding behind a tree, so she just lay there for hours and hours. Finally had the courage to get up. She buried her parents. So I think about that. Here's this gal, I can't remember how old she would have been at the time, but probably a teenager. And it was important to her that her parents get a burial. So she goes and buries her parents right there, digs a hole and buries them, and then she flees the scene. And I mean, she's telling this story, and it's just, it's unbelievable. I mean, it's heart-wrenching. It's unbelievable what they've gone through. But then the forgiveness on the other side is just so amazing. And yeah, there's a grace there in that country that I've experienced when I've been there that is just, it's super powerful.
I watched there was some sort of documentary that Immaculate was talking, and she was right next to the gentleman who I think had killed some of her family. Yeah. And so she was forgiving him, yes. And he was sorry. Like, he felt bad. I mean, there was such a emotional uptake of like, why are these people all getting fired up? And I think it was just like evil that was happening, but it was, but he felt sorry too. You know, yes. It was just oh man. Amazing.
And the guard was angry. So the guard wanted her to exact revenge on him. And no, she said, I forgive you. And walked away. And
because all of her family was killed.
Yes. She had a brother who happened to be out of the country.
Okay.
But otherwise, yeah.
So you're heading down there.
So I'm going back, yeah. So as a result of that 2010 experience, when I went for essentially a week, I became involved in a board that supports kids in Cabejo. All right, so it's Kids for Kids is kind of how it started. The name of the organization is Abana.
Oh, yeah.
Abana means kids in Kinyarwanda in their language, and so our byline now for Abana is we feed, teach, and give hope, and that's kind of how it's progressed along. So in the beginning, we were helping to just feed these kids. When I was there just this last January, I had a chance to interview a variety of kids. They'd bring them in. We had a translator with us. These are kids learning English in a school that we're supporting, and first and second graders. So, just adorable kids, right? And I'm thinking, I'm curious about Rwandan cuisine. So I'm going to ask them, what's your favorite meal? It was rice, beans. I mean, I'm thinking I'm going to get some great, oh, you really got to try, the souffle,
The duck on the wrong.
Yeah, exactly. And it just shows how little I understood, right? We went and did a home visit, and they had this pile of beans in the corner, and the mom just mentioned, hey, it was a good harvest. That was going to be their food, like the beans were drying in the corner. That was going to be their main source of food. So what was happening is kids were going to school, and on empty stomachs, as we know, just even from brain research, the importance of nutrition and blood flow to stimulate good learning. And these kids were not getting good diets. And so someone, I don't know who it was, created this nutrient-rich bread, amandazi is what we call it, and they fry it in this fat so that the kids are getting the fat and they're getting the different nutrients out of this bread. And so I'm telling you, it's maybe about the size of a baseball. And for some of these kids, that's the best meal they're going to get, is that amandazi bread. So initially, we were sending money over to help pay for this bread to feed these kids. And there's a Polish priest over there, Father Leszek, and he is, he's a saint as far as I'm concerned. And he wanted to create this academy because these kids are going to a half-day public school, near Ashishi is the name of the school, with just, by American standards, horrible conditions, no posters on the wall, or I mean, just kind of depressing setting, and very full classrooms, all kinds of kids in there, and it was only half-day school. And so this priest wanted there to be a place where kids could come in the afternoon and get a little bit more English, but also he built an observatory and has a telescope there. He wants them to be able to explore, see the stars. He's got a learning center with an aquarium in there, and he said he put it in there only because all the stories in the Bible about fish, and people in Cabejo have never seen a fish in their life.
Really? Aren't they right off the coast or anything? I'm
No.
trying to think of where they're in the middle.
Now, yeah, Mataba, where Immaculate grew up, there was a lake down below,
Okay.
but they wouldn't have seen a live fish. I'm not saying that they haven't had fish necessarily, but there's no
Wow.
You don't just take your kid fishing.
right, exactly,
Okay.
right, and so he wanted them to see what fish look like.
Wow.
So I mean, just this guy's got this just great heart, and he hires local people to do all the work. So a little kind of an FDR type thing where he's then paying the locals, so he's keeping money in the economy and giving them work, giving them some meaning and purpose. And so we supported financially and a little bit advisory, but more financially than anything else, this children's learning academy. Well, on January 1st of 2023, I think is when, no, actually it was earlier than that, but they made English the official language, and the year-end exams that determine the kids' fate, where they're going to go next, were going to be given in English. So all of a sudden,
Wow.
it was like the president, Paul Kagame or Kagame, I don't know how to pronounce his last name, but he said, if we're going to be a player on the world stage, we've got to be able to speak English. He felt like that was an important part of being international with the economy and being part of the world trade. And so overnight, English became the official language of the country, and the tests were going to be in English. And so we were trying to then help these kids get caught up. But in Rwanda, if you pass the test, then they assign you to a school, and it's generally a boarding school, and that's your option. And so imagine kids in this very poor community. Congratulations, you get to go to a high school, and maybe in Kigali, the capital, but we're not going to pay for it. You got to pay tuition, you got to pay room and board. And so we had these families that couldn't take advantage of it. So then we started, the feeding, the teaching, and now the Give Hope is we provide scholarship money for these kids. And when I say scholarship money, $500 would get them through a year for sure. I think that's probably high. A teacher over there gets $80. I can make sure I get this right. $80 a month is what a teacher gets paid over there.
How many students are part of that school system?
Oh, good question. So, Kathy Lesnar, who's the director of Abana, would be very upset with me because I'm not going to have all the exact right answers, but I'm going to be pretty close, I hope. There are over 30 kids in a preschool that we started. When the government changed it to January 1st, 2023 is when they changed it to all-day school. And so that took away our ability to run our academy. So we went to a preschool then, so we could give them a Catholic preschool. And the first and second grade at this local public school, for some reason, only go for a half day. I don't understand why, but we're not fighting it because then that gives us a chance to have those kids come over to the school that I'm going to be working at. And I would say there's probably 80 kids all told that are part of this program. Yeah.
Is Kathy going to watch this?
I think she might. She's just that bored.
Ouch.
Yeah, sorry about that.
Well,
no.
I got to meet Kathy, and so...
Oh, that's right. Yes.
Yeah, so she was really, really sweet. So. Yeah.
Well, we'll make sure to
Kathy.
put some links in the description to Abana. Can people donate, or how do you give to that, or can
you?
Yeah,
absolutely. There's a website. Kathy Lesnar, her daughter Kate, actually went with me. I should say I went with her on the trip back in 2010. As a freshman in high school, she golfed 100 holes and raised $10,000. So in one day, she golfed 100 holes and got a per hole, whatever sponsorship or whatever pledges, and that was enough to provide a water well at Nirashishi, the local public school. And so when we went over there, she presented a check for $10,000 to Father Leszek.
Wow,
and
that's a ton of money.
Oh my gosh, that's a ton of money.
Yeah.
And so that started what was at first All Day for Africa, because she golfed all day for Africa. And FOR was F-O-R-E, kind of cute, right?
Wait, what's that mean?
I'll tell you offline. Okay.
He's a math teacher.
Oh,
yeah. If I have to answer that,
He's spelling FOR wrong.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, right. And so we started an organization. We made an official 501c3 organization, and then over time have rebranded. Now it's Abana, because it's really not All Day for Africa anymore. That was the initial event, but now we're just, it's kids helping kids is what it's supposed to be. Yeah. And so Kate has developed this tremendous website, and of course there's an opportunity to donate on that. Pretty sure the URL, we'll put it in the comments section. I'm pretty sure it's theabanafoundation.org, but we'll put it, right? You guys
just
can
to
do
make
that.
sure.
Yeah, exactly.
Make sure you didn't Korta it.
I don't. Yeah, exactly. It's tomkorta.com. I'll make sure the money gets to all the right place. Don't you worry.
Well, so is Jill excited for the move? I mean, is she going to continue to work as a physical therapist or
Physical therapist?
Yeah, is she going to continue to do?
That's one of the things I've been asking God. I would love it if she didn't have to anymore. And there's some.
Is she ready to kind of be done?
Yeah, I think so. She is excellent. She's a great therapist. She does not like when you work at a clinic and you have to do all the paperwork and all that stuff. But she is. Yeah, so she's great with people. She's a great motivator. Of course, she knows her stuff. She's creative with different modalities, how to help people heal. And so she has a real gift. I think she'd like to be able to use that gift in some way. And I would say what she would like is to not have the pressure to make X amount of money for us to make ends meet. And so there are some things, a little bit of pay increase with going to Wisconsin. We're going to simplify our house a little bit. So there's some things that we can do that will relieve some of the financial stresses that I think I'm hoping God's going to bless that desire and that she won't have to work. And if she does do some work, that'll just be kind of gravy for us.
Yeah. You know, there's a great program in Lincoln that Melissa has been a part of called Clinic with the Heart. And it's like doctors, physical therapists, dentists can go help out there, and it's free. You know, it's people that are homeless or under income. And I wonder if there's anything like that where she could potentially, because that I think for my wife, who's also a physical therapist, the paperwork is just a lot.
Yeah.
You know, you're like, you got into it because you wanted to help people, and and so then that would be an opportunity if they had anything like that there,
right,
to be able to just help. And the paperwork, I would think, would be pretty minimal.
Right.
I don't know.
Right. It's going to be really good. So to answer your question, Jill is excited about moving to Wisconsin. There's some real opportunity there. A couple things. One, we're leaving Lincoln a little wounded. So there'll be some healing, I think, that can take place. That little bit of distance is going to be good for her. But also, just as a couple, for us to be able to go to a new town where neither of us know anyone. You know, when I moved to Lincoln, this was Jill's hometown. She's a Pius grad. She's in the Hall of Fame. I mean, she was outstanding senior in 1983. I mean, all these, like you said, the Noel family is well known. So there's something really great about us having that fresh start and being able to just explore together. I know you're supposed to keep dating, right, throughout your marriage, but
you are. I don't know.
We've been a little bit of a. Yeah, I've read that in a book somewhere.
Somewhere, yeah.
You know, we have gotten into a rut. I'll just say it that way. You know, and it's going to be fun for us. Every restaurant's going to be new for us. Yeah. There's nice trails to explore. We're right on Lake Michigan, which is just beautiful.
Do you have a house there?
Not yet. No. Well, so when I say Manitowoc is on Lake Michigan,
great.
Our house will be somewhere. It won't be right on Lake Michigan. Yeah. Exactly. Turns out that the price comes down as you get a little further from the lake. So
that's awesome.
But yeah, so we're looking forward to that aspect. Okay. It'll be just the two of us because Bree's going to stay here in Lincoln and finish out at UNL, and so. Yeah, there's a freshness there that's going to really be good for us.
That's good perspective because you could see it as a challenge, but you're seeing it as a challenge in the other. Like, what's this new opportunity? So, like, part of the reason that we even started this podcast, Mike and I are both part of a coffee group, and we found, like you said, we're able to be vulnerable with other men, and in that we've created a very intimate group that can share all kinds of stuff and genuinely pray for each other. Not like, hey, keep me in your prayers. Like, we actually pray for intentions. So I don't know if you had something like that here in Lincoln, but how do you plan to foster that? I've never, I've been here my whole life. I mean, my whole adult life. The thought of picking up and just dropping somewhere else is scary. Like, and I'm sure it is for you too, even though you're kind of finding a home there. But how do you do that? Do you have a plan for how to create those friendships?
I do plan to create those friendships. So I would say the way it happened, I've been blessed to have several groups here in Lincoln over the years that have been just like your coffee group. There's one group of guys, they're all older than me, You guys know who you are. We meet down at Super C every Saturday morning. These are daily mass goers, and that's how I got to know them, was attending daily mass at Cathedral, 6:30 mass at Cathedral. And then we would go to Saturday morning mass, and after Saturday morning mass, we'd go down to the corner and drink coffee. And we've been doing that for, I would say, 26, 27 of the 31 years I've lived in Lincoln.
Wow.
Maybe more than that, actually. And then out of that group, we started a Thursday morning. So same guys, on a Thursday morning, we started like a kind of a book study. So very similar to what we were doing on Wednesdays at Pius. So that's one group of men that I've been involved with. Mike and I and a handful of teachers, maybe 6, 7 guys, meet every Wednesday after school, and we read books. And
We read the books.
But we read them like when we get together. So there's no homework.
Yeah.
We're big on that.
It's actually brilliant. I think Jim maybe
Jim
recommended
Bertrand,
it.
yeah, exactly. Chef Jim, now you have to watch this because you've been outed here.
Jim's been asked to be on the podcast, so
he'd be a great
discerning.
one.
Yeah,
yeah.
discerning,
Oh, yeah, you should do it,
but,
Jim. So anyway, yeah, we read, and we'll read a certain amount of time, and then we'll break at the end of a paragraph. Like if there's something that hits someone, they'll talk about it, and we might get through a paragraph or a couple of paragraphs, and that's it. But we'll talk then for the rest of the hour about whatever hit us and what we're reading. And we've read a variety of things. I think it's been very good.
Yeah.
I've read things I wouldn't have read otherwise at recommendations from the group. And yeah, there was pretty quickly a different bond when you would see people that you had been seeing in the hallway before, but now the day before you've just shared on a little deeper level together, a little bit more about their family, a little bit more about their struggles. We read Unbound.
Yeah, that was one of the first ones, I think.
Yeah, one of the first ones.
Yeah.
And it gets into struggle with sin and that sort of thing, and we're sharing about our journey and our battle against sin, and it starts to get into kind of some connection that you get to know people on a different level. And so it was good for me spiritually, but I think good for the school. And so to get back to answering your question that you probably forgot you asked half an hour ago. Yeah, exactly.
Not long-winded.
I think it'll be good for Roncalli Catholic Schools to have groups like that. So I intend to form them, and I intend to participate in one myself. How that's going to happen, I don't know exactly. I don't know all the details, but it's going to be a priority for sure.
Yeah.
Can you sponsor all of us here that are in the book club that we do meet? Maybe we could meet up there as a demo.
That's a great idea.
Like we'll just 4-star, 5-star hotel.
Yeah.
Put us up and.
At the American Club in Kohler by Whistling
Motel
Straits
6.
Golf Course. Yeah, that's right. Actually, I have to say, shout out to Father LeCaptain. They go by first names there. So Father Doug LeCaptain. When they consolidated parishes, they freed up. There's a rectory, an abandoned rectory, that he's going to allow me to stay in until Jill and I can find a place to live,
nice.
which just takes a huge burden off of us in terms of some of those practicalities.
Yeah.
So I get back from Rwanda on October 1st. My first day of work is October 6th in Wisconsin. I land in Omaha on the 1st. So it's going to be hi, hun, let's go to Wisconsin. And she may not come initially with me, depending on if we've sold our house here or not. But then, I've got a place that I can stay up there. So I say all that to say, you guys can come stay with me in the rectory.
That'd be great.
I have no many people who can stay in there.
You got a TV in there.
I hope Father Doug is hung up by now, or no longer listening to this.
Oh yeah, by
you
this
heard the
point,
shout out. Yeah,
not many people make it back.
No one's listening.
Does he know about your pet llama? Have you told him that he's coming with you? No llama.
Cut that. Yeah,
it spits. No, it doesn't spit. That's great. I'm excited for you. I mean, what an exciting adventure just the two of you to take off and go. I mean, just kind of to rejuvenate. Hey, we're starting over again in a way.
Yeah.
And I'm sure you're really passionate. I mean, you're passionate about school and kids, and this is just, you're going to be able to affect K through 12, which is something you haven't really, I mean, you have, but but this will be
not really, yeah.
this will be great.
An interesting thing for me, so I turned 57 the end of August. And so, yeah, right? I'm getting really old.
Right there.
And so you think about, they call it 3K. So kindergarten for 3-year-olds, they call 3K. So there's a 3K, 4K, K, and then 1 to 12.
What's
right?
the 4K?
That's for 4-year-olds. No, it's FORE. It's for golfers. It's for kids that are aspiring golfers.
Oh, Tom, they made a big mistake.
Wow. Have you ever done comedy?
No, not at all. No.
When do you go again? You leave all because
we're gonna have a comedy night.
We're putting together a Barnegan Ministries comedy night.
Oh,
we're gonna give you a set.
You
can do it remotely. I'll hold the laptop on
there
stage
you go.
and you can just
we need to see Bonzo.
You know who you want? You want my son Andrew for that. I'm not kidding you. Anyway, I think he's got a future in comedy. Anyway, so what I start to say, I feel like it's 3K, 4K.
Yeah.
The kids who are in 3K, I'm not going to see through high school. That's an interesting thought for me to be approaching this job with, I'm going to say, I think 10 years left probably in my career. I'll be 66, 67 in 10 years, and I mean maybe I'll go longer than that, but I doubt that I'm going to see the 3Ks. So these kids that I'm going to be starting with, I'm not going to see even all the way through high school, that's different. At Pius, every 4 years you have a completely different student body.
Yeah.
And
every 5. I mean, so
well,
a couple of kids.
I thought we were going to bring my son up, but okay, yeah.
The comedian.
Yeah, the comedian. Yeah, exactly. But anyway, I mean, it's just it's going to be different. That'll be different for me.
Yeah, that's interesting. Like, what perspective though? Too, I heard the quote once that the cemetery is full of irreplaceable people. We all think we're irreplaceable to some extent, and we're all unique in that regard. But you're right. In 10 years, you're going to pass this on. So, like, what do you do during those 10 years? How do you steward your time to help build this community and this church and this school up while you're there for that short period of time?
Right.
That's a gift and a challenge.
Yeah, there's a responsibility there for sure. What that reality helps me to remember is what's most important are our souls, right? That's what's lasting. That's what's eternal. And so if in my work at Pius I've been able to bring some people closer to Christ, and not just me directly, but if I've created opportunities within the school for others to have that relationship with our Lord, in the end, that's going to be the most important work. There's salary work, there's raising money, there's facilities, and all those things, and those are important for sure. You got to get people into the school if you're going to impact their spiritual life. You've got to have the opportunity, right? So you do need to attract kids to Pius or to Roncalli Catholic Schools in this case. But whatever I build or am part of with curriculum or anything like that isn't going to matter one bit 20 years from now. But I have the opportunity to help build a place, because I think Manitowoc's already pretty well there, Roncalli Catholic Schools. But to, on even a deeper and deeper level, how are we doing at converting kids' hearts to the Lord? And if we get that right, that's the everlasting stuff. My body's going to be rotten in a cemetery. Their bodies will someday be rotten in a cemetery. What will their souls be doing? Hopefully enjoying just all the blessings of heaven beyond our imagination, right? We have that opportunity in Catholic education to make that difference.
I think you're the right man for the job. I mean, as you're talking, I kind of remember a story. When I worked at Pius with you, I was in IT, and I remember walking into your office, and I think you're having some issues with your computer, and I couldn't fix it anyway. But, so horrible.
Standard for
Pretty much pretty standard Tuesday. Not fixing anything.
Which time? So far the story isn't helping me to clarify.
This is your whole
Exactly.
Yeah, fair enough. But there was a day that I was in your office, and I could just tell that you were wearing some. You're feeling pretty heavy, and I remember saying, "You doing all right?" And as I'm like looking at your passwords over here, and you're like, no matter what decision I make today, somebody's going to be mad. And I thought, that's such a heavy burden to carry. Like, I'm sure that there's a lot of those decisions that you had to deal with daily, probably, where you had the weight of like different parents, administrators, teachers, whatever, concerned about something, and no matter what decision you had to make, somebody was going to be angry about it or disappointed. So that takes a real special person to be able to kind of be okay with that, I guess, and to kind of tackle those problems. But so I admired that about you, and you were willing to step into those battles and to do the work. Were there things about, because you were a teacher for how long before you became an administrator?
I taught at Pius for 5 years before they removed my brain and made me an administrator.
Then you became principal. And
assistant principal for 7.
Okay. Oh,
then
wow.
principal for 15.
Okay.
And then CEO for 4.
Okay.
And, the saying, it gets lonely at the top.
Yeah.
Each level, like, there was a loneliness in assistant principal, because as a teacher, you were one of the guys. You were in with the faculty, right? Mm. And then all of a sudden, as assistant principal, now you're no longer an us, you're a them. And then as a principal, you have assistant principals who you can kind of confide in and share with some things, but they don't. I did not, as an assistant principal, understand what the principal is going through, and they cannot understand. It's not their fault. They don't understand what it's like to be a principal. And then I became chief administrative officer, and the number of people out there, a lot of principals out there, you can kind of talk to principals, but then the number of chief administrative officers, like every step you go up, just the people that you are even able to talk to about some things, like, there's some confidentiality, and just some things that you really shouldn't be sharing with other people. And so it gets, lonely is probably not exactly the right word, but you do feel alone in terms of, I've got to carry this.
Yeah.
And there's not anyone that I can really share it with. Yeah. There's always someone above you, right? So there's a diocesan superintendent, but they're not in the thick of it.
Sort of
they can weigh in a little bit and be sources of guidance. And Monsignor Perkington always was, Father Stoley was, and I think Dr. Walker in Manitowoc will be. She strikes me as someone who's going to be very much like that. But yeah, there are things that you just you take to the Lord, and you say, all right, God, you get this. Tell me what I should be doing here, or not tell me what I should be doing, because it rarely works out that way that I can ask God, what specifically to do, and he tells me. But you ask the Lord to give wisdom and guidance, and he also gives an abundance of peace. And then you say, okay, I'm going to do what I'm called to do next. And we've got this great example in our Lord who was so, unjustly treated and so misunderstood and hated for doing what was good and what was right, and suffered so much for us. And he didn't suffer for us just because we're sinners, but he suffered for us to show us a way of how to suffer. And that there's peace and there's joy on the other side of that suffering. And hang with God. He's going to get you through it, right, and lead you to a better place.
It's funny. It makes me think, and hear me clearly. I'm not comparing you to Jesus, but
Thank
you know, when you said that, I thought of Jesus in the garden. Like it was his alone to do, you know, to be in the garden, but he wanted to know that his friends were there.
Yeah.
But he had to do it alone. But just knowing that they were awake, or in this case not, was comforting to him, or would have been. And so that's kind of what I hear. Being at the top, you know, you've got this mission that it is between you and God. You're trying to talk with the Father and discern, what do you want me to do? But it is good to know I've got people on my team.
Yeah.
So it's not lonely, but it is alone.
And something this last spring that I was given a new insight about Jesus in the garden. So it's just been a new prayer for me. I think he was very concerned about his disciples, his 12, you know, his apostles. And that an element of his pain was worry for them and how that, you know, he knows where he's headed. He knows what's going on. And I experienced a little bit of that at Pius. You know, as I was leaving Pius, just these are the people that officially worked for me. I always felt like they worked with me, but you know, I was the CAO, so you know, I was ultimately their boss.
Yeah.
I just felt this great responsibility for them and a love for them. And, you know, it's weird to talk about loving your employees, but just this concern for them. And I knew that as I was going through my leaving Pius, that was going to be really hard for some people there were a couple who liked me. And so for those two, I knew it was going to be tough. Jesus had 12, I had 2, fair enough. But that would have been part of, I think that would have been part of his agony in the garden, is just these people that he loved so much were going to go through it in the next 48 hours. He knew it was coming Sunday morning. So, I mean, he knew the punchline, but couldn't adequately express it to them.
Yeah.
And he saw what Friday night was going to be like for them, and all day Saturday what that was going to be, and even much of Sunday, frankly, as they're trying to kind of figure out, is this really, you know, until
The
he finally,
doubt,
you know,
the
yeah,
fear.
exactly.
Yeah.
And so I think, you know, that's another thing as you go up in leadership, just the sense of responsibility for those who are, at least according to the org chart, below you, increases significantly.
Well, that's interesting because even, you know, Jesus would have known that you guys are going to go through something similar. You know, I mean, how many of them? They all died a martyr's death, and many of them crucified, and like he would have known that and said, like, guys, just stay awake. Like, come on.
Yeah.
Yeah. There's almost an ache for them because you do love them.
Right. Yeah.
Well, and even you love the staff and faculty at Pius so much that I was telling my wife yesterday, I think it was, that we were just kind of, there's so many stories about you, Tom, that I just have such a love for you, man. I think that we get to know each other at Pius, and but there's so many things that you did that nobody ever really saw. You know, like, I mean, I did IT work, and so sometimes I'm pulling cables through the ceilings, and then there's stories about you pulling cables through the ceiling. Like, you did all of those jobs. Like, you're cleaning tables and, you know,
Was he pulling back your cables to do them right?
Oh, you know what?
You routed these the wrong way, Mike.
Yeah.
Very true. That's why I don't work in IT anymore, so I'm not even worried about that. But one of the, I don't know when you made this move, but when I was at Pius, the IT room was in the basement. Like, no windows. Mice would get caught in the traps. I mean, it was really, I like to see outside and everything. And, well, sure enough, Tom, as a CAO, as they start moving things around and everything, your office became probably the most undesirable office in the building by choice, right? Like, you moved down there because you are so humble that you wanted to make sure everybody else was taken care of, and your office became the most undesirable office in the building. And there's many stories, and for 31 years of being there, that I'm sure everybody has some sort of a story that they can relate to what you did and how you did it for somebody else. And so I think that the Roncalli school system is just getting an amazing person. You just a gem. Like you can't find somebody like this.
They don't know the blessing they're about to get.
Right. And a testament to what you've already done is you can show them, hey, this is what Pius X looks like now, and that's because of your leadership. And so, we've had kids there, and we appreciate everything you did there. And I just think that they really don't know what they're getting, which is a real gem of a person. So
Thank you. Appreciate
absolutely.
I'd like to think even if you had followed in your dad's footsteps as an engineer, like you would have done the same thing wherever you landed.
Yeah,
it's who you
absolutely.
are. It's not because you're a teacher and a principal and a CAO. It's just who you are. You're doing it where you're planted. That's beautiful.
Thanks.
Yeah.
Yeah. Praise God. Right.
Yeah.
I mean, it's in all things.
It's gonna be a bummer that you're leaving, but yeah, we'll run. Maybe Larry's retiring, so maybe he'll come up.
And he's a Packer fan.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Well. Okay.
Yeah, I'm like 30, 40 miles south of Green Bay.
Wow.
If any Roncalli people are listening and have extra Packer tickets, just there's gonna be a new guy in town, big Packer fan. Always have been.
Does he live up there at all?
Brett Favre?
Mm-hmm.
I don't know that.
I feel like he was a local. Not local, but I think he was in that area. I don't know. You know what's really embarrassing is this. See this hole right here?
I've been watching.
Have you?
I saw your hands.
I was like, I saw that halfway through the interview, and I'm like, oh man, there's a hole right there.
I was
what
like,
the heck?
is that reflecting something?
No,
like,
it's my hands.
It's Mike's hands.
I was down here doing my texting as I was like listening. Oh, that's interesting, Tom. Yeah.
Yeah, go on.
Fascinating, Bonzo.
Please don't go on.
Do
Yeah.
you even remember my question?
Yeah, I didn't know you were going to fact check me.
No. This has been great. I mean, I don't know, anything else you want to talk about? I mean, you're probably tired driving. And
I appreciate you guys having me on very much. And yeah, just richly blessed. And frankly, we all are. And we all have different circumstances and difficult circumstances. But they're all each our own pathway to heaven if we embrace the cross. That there are opportunities for us to be purified and give glory to God along the way. And what awaits us on the other side is worth every bit of suffering here if we endure it right. And
I've still got two little kids at home at 10 and 12, and I tell them all the time, and I pray it all the time, that God is good and God is faithful. Like, no matter what you're going through, He is always good and He's always faithful. We may not understand it, the challenge, and that may have been you a few months ago or a few years ago as you're discerning where am I going and what's happening, and going without a paycheck for a few months. That's a very uncomfortable situation to be in.
Yeah.
But through the midst of that, God is always good and He's always faithful.
And for me, there's this desire to be the great son. Like, I don't want to be a good son. I want to be a great son. It was true for my parents, but no, so much more for God our Father. And boy, through fatherhood, and you guys both know this, there really is nothing. I cannot think of a thing that my kids could do that would get me to stop loving them. And they've done some crazy things, some dumb things, things I disagree with. And I still love them like crazy. And if I have a tendency in the spiritual life, it's to think that when I'm less than perfect, that I'm less than lovable. And I'm as big a sinner as anyone, and completely unmerited grace, but God, He loves me. I don't know why. I mean, there are plenty of reasons why He could decide not to, but He still loves me.
Yeah.
And, I think that's true for all of us, and we just need to, I guess that'd be my challenge to the three listeners out there. It's really choking Mike up.
do that. Where's the bourbon?
Yeah, that's right.
Do you need some? Sorry. He's not kidding.
Yeah, right?
Did you just say the three listeners out there?
The three listeners, I did say that. Yeah, that's right.
Oh,
brutal. Just can you pull the knife out? 'Cause you know there's 4.
Okay,
You know, it's FORE.
FORE.
Come on.
Exactly. 4 golfers. But yeah, the challenge, I think, that I would say is just encourage people to live in that truth and that peace that we are beloved sons and daughters of the Father. And that's easy to say. It rolls off the tongue. Maybe said too often, too cliche, too familiar, but it's an overwhelming truth when you can spend time with that and just sit in that reality. It's a grace. It's a blessing.
Yeah, I like that you said to sit with it, because I've had to sit with that a lot. Like, you just got to sit with those truths until they sink in, and sometimes that takes weeks or months or years. But just keep sitting with the truth. God loves you.
It's a journey. We're on a journey,
Yep.
and we're not done yet.
I had another question for you if I can get it out.
Are you choked up?
Yeah,
I am. Literally.
powerful stuff. I'll tell you what. Yeah.
You got him in the
Amazing.
fields.
Sorry. So, one of my don't spit on the our electrical board.
Yeah,
we don't make any money on this thing. So, one of the questions I wanted to ask you though was when you were, with the 31 years at Pius in high school, you've probably seen some pretty awful things and some amazing things. I mean, I just think of like there's kids that probably passed away, like some pretty hard moments that you had to deal with, and but just some really rewarding moments. Was there anything that you could maybe share that you experienced back at Pius that you felt was just things that you're going to remember forever?
Oh my gosh.
Oh, you just asked Tom an open-ended question.
Yeah, big
were
mistake.
trying to wrap up.
Yeah, exactly. We're trying
I'm
to
gonna
wind
keep coughing,
down.
that's why.
Yeah,
I'm gonna step
exactly.
away. I mean, I do need some bourbon over there. Pour some of that in there.
Yeah.
Just a little bit.
Ironically, I would say
Thanks, brother.
that the proud moments I'll remember forever generally came on the tail of some of the most tragic moments. It's when a community rallies together. I think about after we had a stabbing in our school, and that was a painful, super painful week. Incredibly tough day, but incredibly tough week, and a lot of uncertainty, and originally didn't know where the perpetrator was and all that stuff. But the way the community came together, we prayed for the victim and for the perpetrator, was just amazing. Kids unprompted. I mean, when your students are being interviewed by local news media and they're talking about how we're praying for the person who did this, it's just, that felt really good. That's proud moment.
What a witness.
Yeah. We've had students die and have had kids show up to be together immediately after in prayer and gather for Mass in the gym because the chapel's too small to hold everybody who shows up. Rosaries that we've had down at the football field after games or whenever it was, but there was a significant need in the Pius family, and just how often we turn to the Lord together in prayer to ask for healing, ask for repose of someone's soul, whatever the case may be. Those are the proud moments that definitely are going to stick with me. And then just the silly, stupid stuff, the jokes and just the celebrations along the way, and the Pius 10 male children born to Pius faculty in one calendar year. The Pius 10. That was kind of cool. Graduations when a parent's receiving a diploma on behalf of a loved one who died. You know, powerful things, just moments like that. Students who couldn't, they just didn't have the intellectual capacity to graduate from Pius, but they were at Pius for 4 years, and the kids looked out for them and took good care of them, and they received a certificate of completion at the end of 4 years. They walk across the stage, just how much they're loved by the kids. And I mean, yeah, at the end of the day, you're hearing kids. I mean, the kids at Pius, they were special, and they took good care of each other, and you know, they did some knuckleheaded things for sure. There were some not always great times, but boy, there's a lot of hope for the future of the church because of what we get to see day in, day out at Pius. And I'm sure at Roncalli, coming to a school near you.
I as you kind of talked through, I thought of some different situations that I think of Hayden Higgins, you know, being able to, like, those kids, they just really embraced those kids that needed it. You know, I mean, Ben, I remember Ben, who could tell you your birthday, what day you were born on.
Yep.
You know,
Ben Wilson.
Yeah, just amazing kids that everybody was very good about embracing. Like maybe they were prom king, or, you know, it was just like they really took it. They really understood that it was not about them, and we're great.
And I would say, as I'm just bringing a little bit more of a spiritual level as well, sometimes it's almost easier to love the extreme other. And so it's the person who's a little bit different than you that maybe is sometimes a little bit harder to love. And I think that's a challenge for all of us, right? You know, we can do the heroic, I'm going to help the person in the wheelchair. And maybe even there's a party that wants to be seen helping the person in the wheelchair. But the kid who smells sitting next to you in class every day, you know, it's every bit as heroic to give that guy or gal, an attaboy or a friendly smile or help them out. So we're all God's children, all of us, no matter what the age, in need of love and in need of community and that sense of belonging. And we're all called to be God's instruments of his light and love to others that we encounter. And that's our challenge for sure as educators. And, whoever's listening to this,
At this point.
that's the which is probably no one. I think we're down to two.
I mean, after the coughing, they're like,
exactly.
Off like flies.
what else is on Matt?
But
Fry?
if anyone would listen to this, I would encourage you to think about who are the near margin people in your life that need that extra love, that extra attention, that extra patience.
Yeah, close to home. Do you have any advice for a brand new teacher? As I will be. So
Well, you're not brand new.
Well, I did teach one class. I think that was probably illegal.
At a different school.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, not a
Somewhere
Pius. Yeah, totally legal now. I'm not kidding. He is. He's totally legal. We checked it out.
Completely
Yep.
legal. Background check.
Certified. Yep.
But yeah, for like a brand new teacher coming in, you were a teacher, you were administrator. What would you give advice to a teacher coming in to watch for?
I guess I think just to remember the subject content is important, but they're going to remember who you are as a person much more than they're going to remember, primary versus secondary colors or whatever else you get into as an art teacher. It's pretty much that. Yeah, exactly.
That was the whole first semester right there.
exactly.
We're going to talk about the color red today. This whole week, as a matter of fact.
I mean, and I don't want to minimize, as a math teacher, I loved trigonometry and had a chance to teach it again just recently. And there's a beauty in the way God ordered the world, right? That is just exciting, and to share that passion. But my goodness, my kids are not going to remember the double angle formula, or the half angle. I mean, they're not going to memorize.
No, not
that.
the way you teach it.
Yeah, exactly. A good teacher, those kids would. Yeah. And and so just to keep that context in front of you, that what's most important. You're going to teach a lot more by who you are than what content you try to convey.
Yeah, I think that's
good.
As soon as you said that, I remember my French teacher from high school. I know her name and I remember her personality. I don't remember any French, but even math, I loved my math teacher made it fun. And I'd have to brush up on stuff to do trig again, but it was a great class and she was a good person that saw me.
Yeah.
That's what I remember about it.
Yep. Yeah.
Mike's off in La La Land thinking now I can see it.
No,
You're going to do great, man.
Yeah, I'm excited.
You will be great.
I'm excited.
Yeah. It'll be good for your kids.
Well, thank you. Yeah, my daughter doesn't want me to go there, but she's pretty angry.
She can talk to my 4 kids. Anytime there was a whiff of snow, I was like, "Hey, tell your dad to cancel school."
I can imagine.
Yeah, he doesn't do it.
Yeah,
it's not his call.
Well, it'll be great. Well, we have. So I don't know. Did you watch any of our episodes?
Here it comes.
Not all the way through.
At least
I started just. You said it. You sent me the one.
Doug.
Yeah, and I started watching, just kind of get a flavor of it. I was actually driving home today watching it.
Oh, good.
Not watching it, but listening.
Listening more than watching.
I knew what you meant.
Yeah, exactly.
I'm trying to just get to some other stuff.
So no, I've not seen a whole episode all the way through.
Do you know what these are?
Eggs.
Yep.
Nailed it.
Okay, well,
That's it.
how many are there?
Yeah, exactly. 4.
These are real eggs from a real chicken's butt that we do. This is called the egg question. Have you seen this part?
No.
Okay.
Oh,
So
geez.
That's how we know you didn't get
That's
to the
exact. That's we know you're a normal person because nobody ever. I don't think we've ever had anybody. Even nobody has come on.
end. One time I was like, I don't know what they are.
That's right.
So we do an egg question where you're gonna pick out one of these eggs because we're in the barn again, the farm, and so we have this basket of eggs here that you're gonna pick out an egg. On the bottom of an egg is a number, and we're gonna have a question for you based on the number you pick.
Rando question. Pick wisely, sir.
Rando.
Don't pick that one. Don't pick that
Oh.
M.
Yeah, we don't have any questions for him.
Yeah, well,
sorry.
okay, all right.
But if you turn it to the side,
What
it
color
says
am I thinking of?
E.
3.
3.
3, sir. All right.
Trinity.
Okay.
excellent.
So this is an either or. What is your most embarrassing moment or the strangest thing that's ever happened to you? And why? Well, maybe we'll find out why.
My goodness.
Or a fashion trend that you want to bring back. I think there's some good ones from the past.
Most embarrassing moment or the strangest thing that's ever happened to you? That you can say on public forum.
Nobody's watching.
beyond this podcast?
Yeah,
this is among the strangest
private,
things.
let's be
Yeah,
honest.
exactly.
Strangest.
I just pulled an egg out of a
Experiences.
basket with a number on the bottom. I don't know how much stranger it gets than that.
Well, we're like halfway through the episode. So wait till you see the end.
Yeah, this is just intermission. Oh my gosh. The most embarrassing
He's been a clown.
thing.
This is probably a tough one.
Yeah.
When was the last time you did any clown routine? It's been a long time.
was
Full on. It's been a
Thursday.
long time. When I was a senior in high school, I actually was hired by Milwaukee Public Schools. I would leave. My mom would pick me up at my high school in Milwaukee, and it was about a half-hour drive to where like we took off. I was a clown and animal show. So I was the clown, of course.
Oh, okay. I didn't want to assume.
And then there was this other person, and they were different people, different days, but there was a boa constrictor and there was a ferret.
Is that where you got your
and
llama? Is it from?
And there was a llama
okay.
who was really spit a
llama.
lot. Yeah, exactly. So anyhow, on the way, I would be sitting in the front seat of the car. My mom's driving, and I'm putting on my clown makeup, which is also kind of a weird thing because I would forget that I've been in clown makeup.
Oh.
Because like you don't feel different on the inside. You just look different on the outside. And so I'd be driving along, kind of look at the car next to me, and they'd be like, freak. So anyhow, that was probably the last major. That was the last regular that was paid. It paid pretty well, believe it or not.
Wow.
But that was my last official clowning gig. I did something for the memory walk here in Lincoln, Alzheimer's memory walk. It's been probably 17, 18 years ago that I was a clown for them.
I find it ironic that you work with kids and you're a clown. You know how many kids are deathly afraid of clowns?
Well, that's been a more recent thing. I don't think there was as much clown fear. There's been a few movies that have kind of ruined the clowning industry, frankly.
We're hearing the griping of a clown.
Yeah.
I did have, this might not be appropriate for your show, but
It's appropriate.
my kids then knew that I was the clown. You know, so Dad was Bonzo, right? And so
They probably love that.
yeah, they did. And so I'm blowing up balloon animals for all these kids, and Bree is sitting in my lap. One of the volunteers who worked for the Alzheimer's Association did not know that I was Tom Korta and did not know that was my daughter Bree, and was very concerned about the clown who had this cute little girl sitting in his lap throughout the whole thing and kind of hugging on her and that sort of thing. And fortunately, she found out before the police got there. But anyway,
You've
Have you
got
ever-
explaining to.
yeah, exactly.
Have you ever been arrested?
Have I ever been arrested? No.
Not officially. I
You know,
mean,
pulled over for speeding
Okay.
many times.
Handcuffed.
Never. Oh no, handcuffed.
Been served a
No,
meal in
nothing
jail. That's what I meant.
that. Yeah, exactly.
I've served a meal in jail, but never been served a meal.
There's a couple guys in our coffee group who have been detained, and Andrew tells a story. Andrew, this guy right here, he's Nebraska Edge, great guy, but he talks about being pulled over he was in Colorado going very fast over the, I think, 100 and something, trying to get back to Nebraska, and he talks about the police pulled him over, and he's like, I'm going to jail. He's telling his future wife that he's with, and so he got to jail, and they serve him a meal, and he's like, oh man, I'm gonna be here a while. You don't know what you're expecting, but once you get served a meal, you're there.
You know, you're there for a while. Yeah, exactly.
So a couple guys have been incarcerated.
Yeah.
Anyway,
You still pulling for that embarrassing moment?
I'll tell you what. What comes to
strangers.
mind, honestly, is
Don't have
just
any.
well, just this last February at Pius was kind of, I mean, embarrassing in a certain sense. You know, I mean, just humiliating
Oh.
would be probably a better word than embarrassing. But you know, a more jovial, embarrassing moment. I did think about, as a clown, some of my failures when, like, I completely screwed up a magic trick. I told you that I was a bungling clown, but the bungling clown was supposed to do the magic trick wrong the right way.
Yes. Yes.
And there were a number of times I did it wrong the wrong way, and crying backstage is not very good for a clown's makeup. I will tell you that right now.
Oh, no.
I've had more than my share of those as a high school kid back there.
Did you, like, pull out a dead rabbit or something? Or
Yeah,
what?
exactly.
you actually cut a person in half,
Yeah,
cut her leg right off.
It's so embarrassing,
that's so
right?
funny.
Yeah, exactly.
sorry.
Kids screaming in the front row. It was a bad scene. Yeah.
That's funny. Well, did you want to go into Pius at all? I mean, you kind of just mentioned it, but we don't have to. I'll edit this.
You
out.
mean like drive into Pius?
Yeah. Like, if you're going to
let's
prank
go.
them,
You've got keys, don't
this
you?
is the
Yeah.
time.
Yeah, I don't
I can get you
anymore.
back in.
Yeah,
We released the
exactly.
pig in the
we
hallways.
can go TP the big oak trees out front.
Well, I'll just say, I mean, being told that your contract's not going to be renewed it's a sobering moment, you know, and it's a tough thing, and kind of puts you into a range of emotions, and definitely some second guessing of, you know, I thought I was doing a good job, and, you know, some of those things, like maybe I wasn't doing the job that I thought I was, or, you know, is there something that I wasn't getting done right, or, you know, I generally thought that I was favorably received by the Pius family, and, you know, so you sort of, you know, am I not so well received as I thought, and
self-doubt.
Yeah, there's things of betrayal, feelings of betrayal in some cases, and it's all those things, and praise God, right?
Yeah.
So are you at a place that, like, now looking back and knowing where you're going, that you can see God's hand in it to say, Tom, you asked for humility, I gave you some because I have a good plan for you. Like, are you at that spot, or is it still maybe a little raw?
So I think that was a grace, actually, in this. I felt like I got to that spot pretty quickly.
Oh, wow.
Really. One of the things that I had to realize, that it was okay to be sad and to grieve leaving Pius.
Yeah.
And that didn't mean that I don't trust God and don't see his hand in it. So I think initially I felt, and maybe this is kind of more of a male experience than a female experience, but just felt like I've got to be the strong leader, and so I can't show emotion. And Mike will tell you I'm not really good at not showing emotion. And so I felt for like 2 or 3 weeks like I was just ready to choke up and dissolve into tears, and I wouldn't let myself get there. And that was not a good idea. Part of not letting myself get there, I think, was wanting to be strong for other people who were mad, sad, whatever. There were different emotions that people close to me were going through. My wife, first and foremost among them, but then also, my kids, colleagues at Pius, people in the community. It was a shock to people. And I just feel like it's the leader's responsibility to even lead in the down times, and so I felt like I had to be very supportive I had to, hey, we still love our bishop, we still love our diocesan superintendent, we still pray for them. They have tough decisions to make, and they made this decision with their best, with wanting what's best. There was no ill will. I, of course, disagree with what's best, but that's not my call. That's their call. And so then our job is to say, okay, God, what next for me? And what I didn't initially appreciate is I can be crying my eyes out and say, okay, God, what's next for me? I didn't have to be the somewhat strong stoic,
Yeah.
I'm not strong. But
Yeah, you are.
I had to go through, I had to give myself permission to grieve, and actually something I've learned, a whole area of my life I haven't talked about is working with suicide survivors. And one of the things that we do as part of our program is talk about intentional grieving. And it's giving yourself time and space that you say, like, you literally almost set a date for yourself. I'm going to go and I'm going to grieve. And I had a powerful moment at St. Michael's where I was able to go there for a little over an hour. They had the Blessed Sacrament exposed there, and there was a prayer group up in the front going through their, like, this is part of their routine that they meet there, I think, on every Tuesday or whatever it was. And I was in the back, and I was just choking back the sobs, but I was able to sob. I mean, it was like, it was such a great release for me. And I went there and basically said, started with, God, I'm just so sad. And that's all I had to say. And then the tears just came, and what a blessing that was. And it took that, that emotion that was sitting right below the surface, just took it down a few notches and made it more manageable. And there are different things. You could be watching a TV show that really isn't that sad, but it hits you for some reason. Yeah. And then you find yourself crying, and that's good. It's good and okay to cry, but hard to cry.
It takes courage. I think as men, and Mike and I talk with guys about this, and we experience this in our coffee group. It takes courage to cry. It really does. We're told as men, suck it up, bottle it up, whatever. But to your point, when you do release that in an appropriate way, it takes strength and it takes leadership, because other people see that. They see you grieve and be honest. Is maybe 3 nights ago, my 10-year-old, I put him to bed, and maybe 20 minutes later, my daughter came. She's like, I think Elliot's crying. And so I went into his room, and sure enough, he was crying. And I said, what's going on? And he shared something with me he's going through. And it brought me to tears. And I just cried with him. And he's, I'm hugging him, and he's wiping my tears. And then we laughed a little bit. And but my 10-year-old son got to see his big, strong dad cry. That takes courage to do, because I don't, I want to be masculine, but like the intimacy that we created there in that moment, I think lasts with him for a lifetime.
Yeah.
So good for you. I mean, giving yourself the space to grieve, because you deserve that space. It was sad. It is sad.
Yeah.
And as you go through it, it becomes less, like you said, it ratchets down to a place where you can manage that and say, I'm ready to move on.
Yeah.
Yeah, and if you can just rest with the idea that God needed you up in Milwaukee, or Manitowoc.
Manitowoc.
Darn it. I should have thought that question through. How do I want to? But I mean, if you think about that, well, he needed you there, and he knew that you would go, and so he's like, I need to extract you out of here.
Yeah.
So we need to go.
See, that goes back to the garden for me. Like the Father said, it's time to come home. You're going to have to go through something tough first, but it's time to come home. And so, Jesus grieved. He cried.
Yeah.
I mean, he sweat blood in that garden. And then look at the resurrection.
Yeah.
So that's kind of what I'm hearing in your story. So that's beautiful.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Well, I hope so. I might die in a car crash on the way there.
Well,
that would kind of ruin the podcast, wouldn't it?
You should watch this.
Just as a footnote. Exactly.
Don't watch this.
This story did not end so well.
This is what you would have got.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, that's right. He thought he's headed towards the resurrection.
But you have shown a lot of grace with the exit. With you could have gone a bunch of different ways with how it went, and so. You helped transition, and you helped stick around as long as you could, and now you're off to Rwanda, and then go. Now you're on your mission up there. So in Manitowoc.
There too.
Yeah.
No, you do. You leave a great legacy, Tom.
Right.
Honestly, and you're taking it with you.
Thanks.
Right.
Appreciate it.
We appreciate everything you did here, and we're gonna miss you big
Thanks.
time.
Yeah.
All right. Anything else you want to talk about?
Are you kidding?
Don't ask that question.
Isn't it the next day?
Just plug the battery in on the computer.
All right, well, let's wrap this baby up.
All right. Well, thanks for being here and watching. Tom Korta, amazing story, and I'm glad you shared it with people.
Yeah.
Again, you're an ordinary person, and you have this extraordinary story and these experiences, and you're sharing it with people. And our hope is that gives hope and joy to other people in their journeys. So thank you.
Yeah, and if you have any questions for Tom, you can leave a comment, and we'll get them to Tom. And we'll pray for you. Ask everybody to pray for you on your trip and your family. And we appreciate you being here. So,
yeah.
Thanks, Tom, for everything. So
You bet.
Yeah. All right. Well, thanks for watching, everybody, and hang up your hat and join us on the next episode.
Would you guys come to Wisconsin?
I would.
Yeah. Like
Okay.
tomorrow?
Yeah.
Or?
Oh yeah, I should have
With a
waited
moving van?
until the question was. Oh, my back is.
Keep up.
No, I'm a little hurt. Honestly, when you say that.
I was hoping you'd be a lot hurt.
Maybe let me say it louder. More of a twang in my voice.
Yeah, that might help.
I mean, this is the first time we did this table thing. It used to be, it was straight on the last view, and so we tilted them to make it so that you could kind of see, because you couldn't see. Before.
People are gonna be watching your gang signs down below now.
I was given curveball.
I'm just glad you weren't wearing shorts. You know what I'm saying?
Good thing I wore pants today,
exactly,
right?
yeah.
I mean, of all the days.
That's strange because I blessed the rainstone in Africa.
You really do.
How long were you sitting with that one? Just
All
curious.
night. All night.
Now might no.
No, hold on. Yeah. Don't play it.
If Tom would shut up for 2 seconds, I have a joke.
Yeah. But he kept going, and then I could wait for it to come around again.
Then I got all serious. I'm like, well, that'd be rude.
We have an intro. Then we'll do an intro with some kind of like some pretty like meaty good clips at the beginning, and then to kind of draw people in. Then we'll let it go for the next 7 hours. I have no idea what. It's 6 a.m. right now. I don't even know what time it is.
I thought the sun's rising. There's chickens
Yeah,
outside.
exactly.
It's got light out there.
Everybody's asleep now except for the 3 of us. And any listeners, they're asleep by now.
In the Philippines, you're watching, right? You're live.
Landing spot.
Yeah. So would it be in Manitoba?
No, it won't be in either of those places. I can promise you. I'm not even sure the second place exists.
Twerky,
I really don't even know where you're going, Tom.
He doesn't even know it's in Wisconsin.
Yeah, that's right.
He kept saying Minnesota.
Manitowoc.
It's pronounced Unique.
Unique, New York.
Unique, New York.
Yours probably.
Wow. Can't believe I've known you that long.
I know.
I still tell people I know you.
That's why I can't believe it.
I need to put a board right here because that was I saw that. Look at my hands.
I saw your hands down there. I'm like, what is that?
Both shoulders.
Thanks for coming, man.
Yeah.
I appreciate it,
Glad to
especially
do
after
it.
a long
Oh,
drive.
Appreciate the
How
invite.
long of
actually,
a drive is that?
it was about 6.5 hours, but I actually was able to stretch it into 7.5 by taking the wrong turn coming in. It wasn't 7.5 actually, but I did add some time tonight. We were at that point, you know, when you're to Omaha, mentally you're like, all right, we're home.
Yeah.
Didn't see it.
You didn't see it?
Oh, there it is.
So,
Do you need to use a restroom?
I don't think so.
We got a bucket.
Does it smell like I have to use a restaurant? I mean, are you?
Getting pheromones?
Are you sure you don't need to use the restroom?
You told us the story about the restroom before.
Oh, I just because you mentioned you had a bucket. That's really what keyed that story.
I just thought maybe you came in hot.
It was
coming
like
in
2
hot?
stories. Oh no, I've been home.
Oh, you came home. Okay, you haven't been. I thought you came right off the road.
No, I didn't come straight here.
Okay.
Sorry, I
That's
came
weird.
home.
That's what I was
unpacked the car,
Okay.
ordered dinner for the family, and then came here.
Okay.
Did you order
thank
dinner
you.
for yourself?
No, but I just grabbed a little something.
bag of
to
chips or
eat.
something?
No, I'm good. I'll get nervous and I'll throw up if I'm eating chips.
Yeah, give him some chips.
It's good TV.
Actually, that's really good.
Yeah, it makes great. Yeah.
Here's the church. Here's the steeple. Here's open the doors. All the people. Right. That was dumb. Okay.
You're the best.
We're like rolling. So, well, I don't know if we want that in the screen or not. Put that over there.
Yeah. Well, we don't need refills. Just point if you need some. I'll get it to you.
We have.
I'll go
we
off
have, we have
camera.
dads.
Refill. Yeah, exactly.
What's in there?
Have you guys?
So yeah, a lot to look forward to in this interview.
Yeah, a lot.
Yeah,
We're sitting at 11. A lot. I like it.
I like it a lot. Oh no, there's been a lot of whiskey,
Oh, no.
and it's late.
This is our latest interview.
It's true.
I think. I mean, maybe we did one together, but this was
had-
our latest interview, and Tom had.
Drinking the truffle shuffle.
Oh, nice, man! Little dad action.
boiler.
Anyway, he's gonna be up in many
Wisconsin.
many Manitobas.
So if you're like me and don't do this,
Manitowaka.
you'll jump to the bloopers at the end because there's some pretty funny stuff at the top.
Men to boys to men. He's going up to boys to men.
BBD.
Boys to men to talka. Boys to men to like to talka.
Yeah. The only restroom is the public one outside.
There is one in the house if you want to use.
No. Well,
Tom's a family friend.
it's for number twos. Yeah.
Go.
All right, you guys are about
Go.
to see a great interview. Do it one more time. You guys are about to see a great interview with Tom Korta.
That is a fascinating statement you just made there, Mr. Little.
Oh, Mike, you freaked me out. What is the job? I haven't.
So I'm going to be president of 3 Catholic schools.
The United States.
No, not quite.
Okay.
Not quite that small.
not
This is much more
Wisconsin.
important.
Yeah.
The ability to make decisions on my own.
You're not supposed to look directly at the camera.
Or the other person. Do you remember when I put my cheek next to yours? Like, I can feel your body heat. Stop
Yeah.
it. That was so funny.
That's a great lyric. And I feel your body heat. Not good for my music promotion. Oh,
It's
sorry,
getting
Dad.
hot in here.
We'll try not to cuss then.
No, we'll definitely.
keep the cussing on the low down. Yeah.
Okay.
I mean, as minimal as we
I
can
cuss,
get by.
You just keep being like, that guy. That's
Yeah,
why
that's
I'm-
right. Yeah, that's why I'm leaving Nebraska. They're all like this out here.
Bunch of hicks.
Yeah, exactly.
You
Yeah,
can't
It's
trust them.
everything you thought. It's true.
It's all true. Let me press record. Hold on.
No. You did?
Yeah, Mike, I got you. I got you.
Trace right there.
Dude, seriously, look at this. I've got 4 drinks. I was on the drive here. I'm like, do I want coffee or beer tonight? So I brought both.
I'm not even going to be able to see
And
it.
there's one.
Hold
Yeah,
on.
like, Jonathan's
Hold
back
on.
there.
And then I'll ask you maybe, tell us about growing up. And did you get it?
I need chopsticks.
Or a longer tongue.
We got.
Between two ferns.
Yeah.
Oh, you've never seen that.
No.
Zach Galifianakis. Zach
God bless you. Galifianakis.
Galifianakis.
Galifianakis?
Zach Galifianakis. He's the
He's a comedian. Now you're going to have to watch it.
Oh
Between two ferns?
Yeah.
All right, I'll
It's
watch it.
inappropriately
So
hilarious.
inappropriate.
Oh, really?
So the tables do shake. Mike made these. So.
You didn't have to say Mike made them.
Oh, that was.
As
I
like the
Mike
reason they shake.
got him.
You got him?
Yes.
Okay.
Man, Miyagi's got nothing on me.
Roncalli Catholic Schools, I think.
I've not heard about Rwanda, so I can't wait to hear. I'm a lot of questions.
I can't wait to hear either.
Yeah, where is
You're
it?
gonna talk about it, right?
ATM
I
card.
forget most of our family secrets.
That's good.
so I
Well,
think
you've been
we're
drinking.
okay.
So.
Well, that's true.
Either you get loose lipped,
Lube the memory a little bit. Yeah, exactly. Well, if I,
Thanks for
I'm
coming,
face
Tom.
down.
Publish right away. Holy Mary, Mother of God, pray for us sinners, now and at the hour of our death. Amen.
St. John Vianney.
Pray for us.
And the Father and the Son and the Holy Spirit.
Amen.
All right.